Oh, yeah. After a couple weeks, Sketch Zone is back. I'm Carlos Gomez. And we're going to go ahead and we got Sketchbot Studios in the house. And say hello, Sketchbot.
Yo, what's up?
Oh, you moved the robot. That's Steve. There's Sketch. I want to talk to Sketchbot.
Robot can't talk.
Oh, look.
No mouth in the design flaw.
Look, a chocolate soup to O's. No, you himself.
Word.
Welcome back, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
Speaking of other smooth chocolates, hey, Charlie.
What's up, nation? Hey, I'm back. Good to be back. It's been a couple weeks, but hey, we got a good show. Let's go.
Oh, Jack Kasperzak. Long time no see, buddy.
Yes, let's do this.
Hey, so if you're watching live, you can go ahead and use the chat room. Otherwise, you can. You can use the Sketch Zone hotline. It's 408 Sketch 8 408 753 8248. International callers 011 408 753 8248. Now that we got that underway, let's go ahead and
let's go with the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
Now, before I go into this,
here we go.
Last episode 160. Welcome to episode 162. Episode 161, we got blocked because someone decided after 160 episodes to flag us for using that. So, a quick little shout out to Scotty Sketch Art, who he says, oh, I thought I copied and pasted his whole message. Basically, Scotty Sketch Art, who jumps in the fun prompts from time to time, he said, maybe Jack should sing it.
I don't know if you want that.
Wow, I like how he's like zeroed in on Jack. Jack should sing it.
Yeah, he wants Jack to sing it, but I tried, Scotty. I tried. So hey, last time we did this, we did a ripped octopus screaming.
Ooh.
So let's see. We got Joey Wall art. Nice little rendering. Ooh. And I want to see. I'm not exactly sure what device he uses for these, but I like it. The rip in the painting is pretty cool. So good job, Joey.
I gotta count the legs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just kidding.
3, 4, 5.
You've done made us.
I'm assuming this one in the middle is a leg. It's
oh boy.
Oh, here we go.
We're not even 3 minutes in.
Oh, it's a new record.
I've already been a racist and now a sexist.
Excuse me?
What's left? All right, let's see. We got Bad Art Corner. Welcome back. This is cool.
Bro is ripped.
He's jacked. 1, 2. Whoop. My bad. Spoiler alert. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So, hey, Corey, what's going on, man? This is interesting because he's got these 2 super jacked arms, and then these 2 in the middle are just like
little roidy arms.
You need to do like leg day or something, dude.
He only does 2. He's got no leg days.
He's got a number 1 and 2 day, not 4 and 5 day.
Yeah. Either way, very nice job, Bad Art Corner. I like it.
Chipping his tooth.
Maestro, please. Shiloh illustration. Very cute. Late night animating. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're one of those animators.
Yeah, Corey, the animator.
Again, beautiful job. What can we say?
It's cute.
Yeah.
Cuteness.
Super nicely done.
You think that little girl says bad words?
She just did. No. She's saying it right now.
Yeah, Steve.
My track man accidentally clicked, but good job, Shiloh.
Yeah. With a lisp too.
This cat just so much pride in his
being a jerk.
abuse.
He's super being a jerk. That's awesome.
Totally see
Doesn't
it.
that cat remind me of a cat? That cat, the way it's drawn, remind me of one that's been drawn in a like a children's book I've read or something before. I feel like it.
What's funny is I saw this on a Facebook, and someone was worried about what was happening with whoever this. Let me see what their proper name is. Lottie. They're like, Lottie, you okay? Like, what's going on? I guess she doesn't usually go this violent, I guess.
You want to talk about it? Call me. Call me now.
Yeah.
Are you getting bullied?
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent job.
Censorship, yeah.
Carlos, shout out to the Twitch stream. We're now live on Twitch.
Hey, Twitch stream, what's going on? To bring you up to date, we're doing the fun prompt and 408 sketch 8. Hey, this is mine. 70s dude is ripped off his butt.
Hey, Carlos, are you okay? You want to talk about it?
Yeah.
The self-portrait, Carlos.
He's like,
got some bad weed.
Or he ripped a really crazy fart.
yeah.
It's-
This
Or
inferno
He's
behind
now
him.
hotboxing himself.
His room that used to be his bedroom behind him.
There was a couple nights in Mexico that I was like,
That burrito's coming back.
it's them street taco revenge.
Right.
Forcing his way back out. And he's screaming.
They had the six chili special.
Yo, this prompt is violent.
This one is,
Yeah, people are getting nasty,
Yeah.
ripping legs off and stuff here.
Like ripped is not a word that I would be that I would pick to initiate so much violence, but I guess it works. This one's cool though. I like it. There's a lot happening. Keeps it, but it's all like wrapped up and framed within the legs. I like it. Good job, Dean McTaggart.
Tag art. Got art.
And I believe that is it. Good job, everyone. So that
Good job,
means
everyone.
time to. That's Lottie. Yeah. See, look, all of her things are really cute, and then all of a sudden she had one, and people are like, "What the heck?"
We brought it out of her. Well, I don't know. Look at that other cat.
No,
Look
the
at
one
this
yelling,
cat. This
screaming
cat
at the
is
other
causing
person?
all sorts of
Yeah,
havoc.
that cat is stirring up some
Cat's a little bit of a dick.
right?
Yeah, this is a thing with her.
The octopus was just trying to do some little art. And
I
the
want
characters-
her to draw like a really buff bulldog or something. It comes in every so often, puts the cat in check.
I should put this away and just have this as the.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Violence just begets
You
violence.
kind of wasted it, but that's okay.
It's falling right now.
Either way, well played. Well, great job, Lottie.
See, what did you say?
I thought I'm following her right now. I just went to check out her stuff on Instagram.
I thought you said I'm calling her right now. Check
No,
if she's
I'm
okay.
Can you
Make sure
imagine?
she's okay.
Look at this one. She's like, "Ah."
Yeah, that one's the one I was in. She was screaming.
Love it. That's really nice. I love the stuff. Beautiful.
So that means we need help picking a new fun prompt. Gentlemen, if
Yeah, we got two, so they can split it up.
yeah,
Each take
pick let's say pick 3 of the words. We have adjective, animal, character, action, style, and location.
Pick a good one.
I'm gonna say action.
Action. Okay.
Team makes it. What else?
Steve, do you have one?
Let's do location.
Ooh, okay.
Location. Okay.
What was the sweet spot, Jack? 3?
3 tends to be pretty good, but we could roll with just 2.
That would leave it open, yeah.
It's up to you guys. 2? You roll
Let's
the dice.
try 2 and
Let's
see
try
if
2, please.
Really? Mortuary.
I don't think so. I don't even know what that means.
maybe we got to go more.
All right. Pick another one.
Cuba.
So are we gonna keep those? You gonna lock those? And add another?
Ruining Cuba.
What is it again?
Ruining Cuba.
Yo,
Too
the
late.
type of drawings you get.
Right? I think we just had that
A
conversation.
bunch of my people just start sending in pictures like, look, damn it, look, it's ruined.
Oh man.
Let's
Are we
pick-
locking those two and adding one more?
No, we can roll something. I don't know.
Just roll it again.
What are you guys feeling?
He said roll it again, and we'll probably have to lock them and then add another.
Trembling Maze.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, what else would you add to that?
Do we want to leave it wide open like that?
Sure.
Trembling Maze.
A trembling. That's kind of.
And what was the third one? Does that say character?
Yeah. Adjective, animal, character, and style are left.
I've never seen what kind of options come up with style? Is like a drawing style or is like a
Yo, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay.
Trembling Maze is Chuck Jones style, or in a painterly style, Sunday morning comic style.
A trembling maze.
Now we're just.
I'd rather see a character in a situation.
let's check out character.
A zookeeper trembling in a maze.
Sounds
pretty
pretty
I
cool.
like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff you could do there. He gets stuck in the.
We're calling that.
I think you're good. I think they can run with that one.
Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
Excellent.
I'll prepare to sing it
Excellent.
next time.
So we got a whole bunch of new stuff that came out this week.
What came out?
What came out?
What the new Mac Mini came out. A new
What up?
You mean this?
That's not a Mac Mini.
is that
Not a
a
Mac Mini.
It's like,
It's better than a Mac Mini. It's an iPad Pro, yo.
Ooh, that did come out this week. Didn't it?
came out?
Ooh.
That Apple Pencil 2 came out.
word.
Oh,
They should have called it Apple number 2 pencil. Hmm?
And so then I saw, I go and I stalk my friends on social media, and every once in a while, the one I saw Steve, he was doing like a live stream, and he had all kinds of really cool things happening. And then DaCosta showed a picture of all his new stuff. And the first question I had was like, DaCosta, how upset was Wacom that you started showing off all this Apple gear?
I do. I'm not beholden to anybody for anything. Wacom gear,
He said, he
Apple
says, I'm
gear-
not tied
Apple
down.
gear and Wacom gear are fantastic. I'll use any piece of equipment. Those are my two go-to pieces.
Yo, look at the diplomat right now.
No. I'm not exclusive. I love my Wacom gear and I love my Apple gear.
There it is.
It's the way it is. We have an understanding.
This dude is media trained. I love this guy.
I know.
He's just
I know.
amazing.
Listen,
You must have a Pinterest business account.
right?
Yo, write it down.
I do,
You must have a Pinterest business account.
right?
You sly dog. You.
And
Yeah.
Steve,
No, it's good. No, you got to use it all, right? Between software, hardware,
right.
you got to know what's good and what's bad. There's Apple iPad is awesome for a lot of things, but it isn't the end all be all of, or be all end all, whatever
You are
that is,
correct.
whatever way that goes.
And
Of
Sounds
of
good.
kit.
Yeah. Nice.
I like the attempt at the double tap button. I'm not really sure about it. I'm not convinced yet.
Hasn't
It's
grown
nice
on you
that-
yet?
It's nice that there's a button. Yeah, because on my old one, on the original, I have that little pad.
Yeah.
Right where I hold it, like the little foam thing.
yeah.
So because the Apple Pencil is so I'm not a big fan of it's just straight. You know what I mean? So I like actually the Wacom stylus. I guess they're calling it a pen now. But anyway, I like the little bit of a flare, right? You know, remember those old 3D
Yeah.
grip things they used to use?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if somebody actually made like a 3-pointed one, like a 3-sided deal, because
For the pencil?
that's the deal.
Yeah.
You know, just to cap it. But anyway, I mean, I think that the tap is interesting. It feels because the style or the pencil is so small.
Right.
It's actually weird to double tap it a little bit. It feels a little disruptive in the flow. You know what I mean? Because it feels like you have to. You're taking your finger off of it, and it almost feels like you're loosening your grip.
Oh, it's not real like sensitive where it's just like you can kind of like
You're just holding. You just have less of it. I don't have my pencil with me, but you just have less of it in your hand.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You know, it's nice, but it's not a rocker switch.
Doesn't vibrate or anything.
No, it doesn't do that. No, it's nice. It feels good, and the flat surface feels dope. But you know, we'll see. You know, we'll see how the software developers really utilize it. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Steve? Do you share that sentiment?
Yeah, I mean, I just started pulling around like in Procreate. You can double tap and it goes between the pencil and the eraser, so it works okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just literally just starting to get into it. The thing I love though is that snapping it to the top and it charges, so you can keep it with you all the time, and you never really have a low charge. It'll stay charged as long as you.
It gives you an update. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so when you snap it on the top, it really snaps pretty tight, and then you see it comes on. It'll tell you it's on there. Right now, though, my camera is saying it's covered because I just put a new screen protector on, and it's covering up the sensor. However, we were talking about this before the show. I just got an email back from the customer support from the iCares people, and they said that they're going to send a new one with a new notch. So I think they probably didn't know that they were covering up one of those sensors.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna probably have to like just punch out that notch a little bit wider, which is cool. That's my little plug. The iCares. I ordered this on Amazon. I think it's like $10, but these things are awesome because you need a little bit of that tactile feedback and a little bit of audio feedback. Drawing with this hard plastic on the glass, it's just too gliding and too silent. So yeah. We've both been using these things since day one on our first gen, and I love it. And it just gives you a little bit of that tooth and a little bit of that audio scritch sound,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
And
it definitely changes the way the tap sounds on the screen.
Really?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, totally.
How sturdy is it? Like snapping to the top? Is it?
It's
not gonna fall off.
Yeah, as long as you hit the there's like 100 and something magnets on the new iPad Pro. So when you do it, it snaps.
Oh, I heard. Sounds like it's And
then a little thing comes in and tells you what the percentage it's charged. So it's pretty cool.
I'm gonna say it's a nice idea. It's not a fantastic idea because if you rock it that way, it snaps off. But
yeah,
it's way better than the other popsicle stick solution that was silly.
Right.
So about the thermometer charging method.
Yeah, but I think if you're using it and it's kind of one of those things where obviously you're typing it and you're typing and you want to snap it there, that's fine. But you wouldn't click it there and then get up and run and catch the bus. You know what I mean? It's not that solution.
Oh yeah, because here's the thing: you can swivel it really easily, and knock it off.
Oh yeah, totally.
So it's like if you're carrying around, I would never carry it and put it in like that because it would fall. But if you're sitting down, oh, and also I got the keyboard case too. So
keyboard case. I was like, was that the keyboard?
So here's the thing. So the keyboard, I've never rocked a keyboard before on the iPad. So I thought, you know what? Let me go ahead and get the whole kit so I can start using it more and getting it more as like not necessarily a laptop replacement because I don't really even use my 17-inch MacBook Pro that much, but just kind of instead of like answering all my stuff on my phone, when I have my iPad out, I can just respond to stuff, do things and search. But I'm missing that trackpad. I'm kind of like I always want my thumb.
You need a mouse, yeah. So
I have to say it works kind of cool being able to command tab your apps and stuff. And I wish I had a home key to go back to the home screen.
So how does it work? You just snap it in. Doesn't really bend in, right? It's just more of like
it's
either on or off. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I can show you here. It's the magnets in this thing are strong. I mean, this thing it snaps in.
Oh.
So there's like two angles. So there's that angle and this angle. So here's a conundrum though. When you want to sketch, you got to do this, and you're holding the keys. And is
it hitting of the keys? Or is it still connected?
Yeah, it's still connected. It's all one thing. So the thing is, there's no like little thing I could. There's no kickstand to prop up that drawing.
It didn't been. Okay.
So I think Logitech will probably come out with their new version of their slim case, which DaCosta turned me on to. I got that for my old one for Willa, so she gets my first gen, and she's just getting into like learning typing and stuff now. So I thought I'd get her a keyboard so she can use her iPad as her learning. There's like a website we can go typing club and you learn to type. So she's just getting into that. So I thought, let me get her a nice little keyboard and give her own little laptop iPad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see what third parties come out with. Because I'll tell you, man, I'm drooling over it has a backlit keyboard. I'm like, oh man, that'd be nice to have a backlit keyboard. So, and it has a kickstand. So it has like the Surface Pro idea where you can like pop it out and you can adjust it. I'm like, that's what we want for drawing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good. The majority of people who go and get, whether it's a desktop or a laptop or anything like that, the majority of the people out there can survive with an iPad. You get it
totally good.
Oh yeah.
And then maybe like an external like cloud, like either their iCloud or Google Drive or anything like that. So then that way you can have back up all your stuff on there. But for the most part, you don't really need a laptop.
No, but most people, I mean, I don't know what the percentage of people that kind of use iPads and that kind of thing are creatives in that sense. But I think I saw a video the other day talking about, the iPad and the 1%ers. But, I think that if you're using it, any system that has a backup kind of where you're working off like the cloud, like Google Docs or anything like that, it's awesome. Because currently the big problem for me with the iPad is that if you make a document and say any app and you save it, you're saving it locally, but then if you want to save it to like Dropbox, it doesn't save a path. So you can't, it's not linking that actual file. You know what I mean? You're just sending it.
Right.
But then you can't, if you want to reopen it, you go to Dropbox and you open up that file again. It opens up a new version of that file. So now you have two versions of that file. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things right now that it's a little bit kind of dodgy. Like, if you use Pages to write stuff, it'll save it to iCloud, and then you've got that whole thing worked out. So that's, a linked version. But they're still, using Procreate, you're still making copies or anything else. I'm not even sure. I think even Clip Studio Paint is still, you've got to do it locally versus, something you're saving off to another drive somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, another thing we should talk about a little bit about the addition of the USB-C now is a big deal.
That was interesting. Yeah,
I don't have any laptops that use that, so I don't have any dongles or anything. But I know that a lot of people are like excited by the fact that, hey, can we hook up external storage? But you can't. The iOS doesn't recognize it. Maybe Apple will open that up down the road. But like just last night and today, both Costa and I were talking about getting our stuff migrated over. I had to transfer like 260 drawings from Procreate, and I'm like, it didn't come over my cloud backup. I think they said if I would have done the local backup, that stuff probably would have come over. So what I did was, once I got AirDrop working, I had both of them together, and I would just go into the old iPad Pro and select my drawings, AirDrop it, and then with the other one open, I would just click it, and it would just come and import it. So I did all those at once. But of course, I did all my new drawings from the new drawings to the old, and now in the new iPad, all the old drawings are first. So I immediately texted the Procreate guys. I'm like, hey guys, do you have any way to rearrange files and a better little file management system? Like Stacks is kind of a start, but I'm like, I need a little bit better way of going in and grouping all those, and a better file structure. Yeah, we need that kind of stuff. So who knows? Maybe Apple, might open some stuff. I was reading this article the other day, and somebody brought up a good point. It's like, the Apple TV has tvOS. Our watch has watchOS. Why can't our iPad Pros have iPad OS? So it's not just the bigger version of the iPhone OS, but let's get some dedicated iPad stuff so we can start playing with the big boys now and actually really taking advantage of all this power. This machine is so powerful. It's like, I'm not going to upgrade this machine probably for another 3 years, right? So I'll keep this one for 3 more years and see what happens. They'll probably come out with a special edition probably for the 10th anniversary in 2020. But it's like, this thing is so powerful. It's like, that's another thing. The developers, man, it's like the software writers now, they need to really start taking advantage. Photoshop's coming out for it. Let's see what that has to do with it. I'd love to see something like ZBrush. Give us like a ZBrush Lite or something on this thing. It's like, let's get some real world apps on this thing now.
I can see ZBrush going on there because ZBrush doesn't have a true viewport. So they're already optimizing those 3D models where it's only being rendered what you see. So possible.
Yeah, I
It could be
think-
possible.
But don't be bringing that confusing ass interface. Don't do that.
Oh no, it's there. It's not going anywhere. I'm sorry.
right.
It's the unfortunate part.
I know.
They haven't touched it at all.
Wait, my
They keep
water,
adding to it.
why my
No.
water bottle is sponsored by ZBrush, by the way.
Nice.
Water bottle sponsored by Zebra.
You just got paid.
Yeah, he's trying to one up us right here, guys. Featuring ZBrush,
How many logos can I throw up on the screen one time?
Z Water.
Steve is like, I gotta pay for this somehow.
My water has perfect topology.
It was an expensive last 2 months for all of us Apple addicts, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So, what's the hardware on the iPad Pro? Real quick before we finish with this, like, how fast is it now and everything? Or is it just?
No, it's got
pretty
that
straight?
12, the Bionic,
12.
that Bionic 12X Bionic chip in it.
Oh, here's one thing I should say that I'm a little bit upset about. DaCosta got the 1 terabyte version. I got the 512 gigabit version. What we didn't know when we pre-ordered these was that the terabyte model has 6 gigs of RAM, and everything below it has 4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah,
And
I can see that.
I kind of like, I was like, what? You know, it's like, had I known that, it's like, is that going to affect our performance on the road? And I was trying to read some specs, and they were saying, well, for moving all that data, all that high speed data, the 6 gigs is going to help you out. But does that mean like, so is it going to be like, is Photoshop going to be able to be minimum requirement 4 gigs and be fine? And if you have like even more data?
Yeah, I don't believe that. I believe you want as much
I know.
as
So
they
I'm
give you.
thinking is, do I? But here's the thing: it was $400 more
Yeah.
than I told him. Like, do I want to go out and exchange this and get the 1 terabyte to future proof myself for the next 2-3 years?
Yeah, I'm gonna spend your money for you and
that
say
next
yes.
year, dude.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
then,
that'd be the big thing is Photoshop when they finally come out with it. Yeah, that'd be your because if any program's gonna like push it,
Sounds like your daughter's getting a 4 gig of RAM.
there it is. See?
Right.
Jack just said it for you. There it is. Yeah. Because look, what I see happening is you're gonna be like sketching in Photoshop for a good hour, right? And then that thing's gonna be hot. It's just gonna get warm over time, or something like that. It's gonna slow down or something as you have layers. That'd be a stress test, right?
Yeah.
You start doing you have to have a drawing so that has a lot of layers or something like that. No, Takashi probably has something in there too to be able to stress test that and just see how it handles.
I'd like to see what happens. I'm a hater on Adobe, but you know, I'd like to see what they're going to try to do. I mean, the demo didn't show anything worth
super
talking
light,
about,
super light. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
switching layers. Ooh, color scripting. Wow. You know, but
I want
I
like
want somebody else.
60 layers deep. You know,
Yeah, totally. I mean,
you grab 10 of them and you copy them.
I'm starting to push and learn a lot about Clip Studio Paint. So that's been my kind of go-to thing. And they don't have layer limitations yet that I'm aware of. So
aren't you also using Affinity Designer, or is that the vector one?
yeah, there's Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo. I've had those as well since the beginning. So those are the other 2 apps that are really good. I mean, they do a lot of. They're basically, you know, that's why Adobe's nervous now, right? Because these are apps, Procreate, Affinity, and Clip Studio Paint. And they're all, especially Clip Studio Paint, because Manga Studio, Clip Studio Paint, whatever, you know, they've all been able to just drop in and actually do some really high level performance stuff. So, I mean, I'm working in Clip Studio Paint at 19 by 13 at 300 DPI, and I don't have any layer restrictions on my iPad. So, I mean, obviously it bogs a little bit when you get, you know, I've got like 80 layers on one file right now,
Right.
but it's fine. You know what I mean? And subfolders and all the rest of that. So it works nicely.
Well, I'm interested in that new program they're doing. I think that's why they have that. Carlos, don't they have that new drawing program that they're supposed to be?
Yeah, and that's the thing
Revealing
that
soon?
frustrates me with Adobe is don't call it Photoshop if you know for damn sure that it's going to be Photoshop. They're talking about Photoshop, and you can do like they had like a file with like what was it 350 layers on it and all this stuff, but no one was drawing on it until they brought Kyle Webster on, and they started showing this other program that you're going to be drawing on, and I'm like, you already have.
No, they got to pull it out and like
programs.
compete.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah. Oh, Landon. Yeah.
You already have a handful of drawing programs, and that's not necessarily like if you're saying Photoshop, I can go into Photoshop and draw right now. At the same time, I bitch and complain because Photoshop is a huge memory hog. So when you open it, like you can do 3D and video and all kinds of stuff. And
Which I hate.
sometimes all I want to do is draw. So I guess I need to stop complaining because
Nope. Complain away because I hate that right now. The new Photoshop. No, we're gonna go in right now, real quick. The new Photoshop, they change on PC. They change the common programs that certain file formats open. So now, like, I have to go back and change it. But like when I open an OBJ, it opens it up in Photoshop after I update it. Because Photoshop, I'm like, Photoshop, you're not that program.
Yeah, pirate. It wants to pirate everything, right?
Like it was a couple
The
different
hijack.
like 3D formats that like opened up once I upgraded to the new CC. I was like, legit, why is this CAD file trying to open in Photoshop right now?
Yeah.
No, it's gonna die. Because it allows you to do it. I'm like, of course it didn't. Of course it started to hang. But I was like, that and like OBJs for some reason, they're really trying to open a lot. I had to go in there and specifically change it back to what I had it originally. But I did notice that other people were noticing it around the office. It's like, I had that problem yesterday. I had to change it. So I don't know. It's the permissions thing.
you're trying to open up an OBJ and Photoshop is like, I don't know what to do.
It literally took me off guard. Like, I must have clicked, the Photoshop icon at the bottom of the screen or something on accident. And after the third or fourth time, I come back and like I keep seeing the splash screen come up. I'm like, it's literally think it can do this. Okay. So
well, they used to ask you if you wanted to like associate files, but now they just go ahead and just
do what they want.
we do all of those things.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't worry. Yeah, that's what it is. Don't worry. Let's open your video too.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be interesting to see what those solutions are, because I think that, I don't know all the super techie stuff, but this version, the OS, the 12, was supposed to be kind of an optimization for the way that it ran, and then 13 is supposed to be this amazing shift towards a new idea, because there was talk of and I amazingly could be wrong about this, but it's the talk of trying to push the operating systems so that they're more like each other. You know what I mean? Potentially, because everybody wants to complain that the iOS is not a full operating system, so you can't run a full suite. But I don't know how much of that is the operating system and the way it saves and moves files around versus how the old software is coded. There's got to be a blend of the two of those things, as opposed to just adapting to the way that regular programs are created. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think that's an interesting thing that's going to happen. I'd love to be able to see that, because and then Steve will tell you this, my theory is, that the iPad idea is, right now you have a MacBook Pro and then you have the guts behind the keyboard and nothing behind the screen. So an iPad now is putting all the guts behind the screen. Then you just slap a keyboard on it. So then you can put anything you want. So then the iPad just becomes the regular laptop idea with all of its connectivity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because to me, to tell you the truth, I made a note. Somebody asked me a question on my Instagram today. I answered that. It was just saying that I don't think that they should have made the iPad thinner. You know what I mean? I don't care about thin. I care about it just working. So if you left it the exact, whatever 1 millimeter that they took off of it, and just put more guts in it, because they've got the bionic chip, but they really they're working on, what is it, Steve? The ARM?
Well, that's what it might show up in like the MacBooks at some point.
Yeah. So, like this chip, or whatever, they're going to switch over from doing the Intel to making their own chips, right? So you're going to put a bionic arm in there or something, whatever you're going to call it. And then, but that would be the major shift to being like the one unit that you can just, like the Star Trek thing. It's funny enough, Star Trek was awesome because there were tablets everywhere. But the problem is there were tablets everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, why do you have 20, Captain Picard, why do you have 20 tablets on your desk? Why can't you just have one? You know what I mean? But it was just funny. Like, they're all like, they went from calculators to cutting board size. They're just funny. But I like that idea of the one slab that I can put my keyboard in. Because Steve and I were talking about looking at keyboards, and there's a company called Bridge. It's BRYDGE. And they make dope keyboards. They just made one for the Google Slate.
Yeah.
Right. You slap it in and it's dope because illuminated keyboard and it has a little trackpad on it and it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like that's a really nice fit. And they just announced the kind of their emailing list for the big announcement for the one that's going to attach to the iPad. Right. So that's going to be interesting. Although iPad doesn't support trackpad stuff right now. But anyway, the point is it looks pretty dope. So I think there's a lot of third party options that are going to come out, and this is going to, I like how Apple feeds that, because this keyboard's kind of like, yeah, it's good enough, right? And it's not made for artists. It never was, because the first one didn't really had that you know, the weird half fold kind of drawing position,
right?
You know what I mean? The unofficial drawing position,
right?
You know what I mean? And that was awesome, you know, at least. But now you can't do it with this new one at all. So it's, as much as they'd like to think that I can't put my iPad on the flat table and draw on it. I have to prop it up.
Same.
You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting to see if they ever come up with something. I think the third party guys are going to come up with stuff. I just bought a dope cradle for it that holds it perfectly. It's awesome. It's like aluminum. It looks actually, it's very much like the Wacom stand for the Mobile Studio Pro. It's that solid. It's brilliant. It's got rubber edges, low profile. It's beautiful. You know, so I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity for that side of things, but we'll see what happens with, you know, this is only the first kind of phase, like this new kind of thing, getting rid of the home button and all the rest of that stuff. We'll see where they go next, because it'd be nice if they did a 15-inch version for the artists.
Yes.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
We were talking too, like I was fine with the first gen size. Like everyone, all the reviewers were like, oh, it was too unwieldy to hold, and like, or I'm like, oh, well, I was around like, what are you talking about? It was totally fine to hold. It's like, really? It's like that was a big issue to whine about. It was like an inch bigger.
No, dude, we gotta call all these, everyone out that complains about this technology as if they really understand the concept of what they're holding in their hand. Right. Like, you need to go to the gym and work out. If you think that the iPad is heavy or too cumbersome, like, what is your life? You need to stop it.
What is your life?
You need to stop crying about this stuff and talking about like, oh, it's what is it? It's a 5 nanometer chip.
Yeah.
Like, really, Apple? You couldn't do 4, really? Like, this attitude with people reviewing tech and complaining about, effectively, like, they're looking for something to gripe about. Right?
It's the snarky tech blogger, syndrome.
Right, like the people that complained about the corners not being not matching.
Everyone. Oh, the corners are concentric, or they don't match the screen, the board. I'm like, are you kidding me? I had to waste my time and actually do a little. Here's what it looks like. Here's the circle selection tool in Photoshop. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I saw that post. Yeah,
it's such so dumb. It's such a stupid thing. People are just ignorant. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just kind of that whole thing is interesting. That the idea of all these tech reviewers who just say things, and then there are people that they don't do their research. They don't really know. So then the other people who are just parrots, and they just say this stuff, and it just exacerbates the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you didn't go to journalism school,
shut up.
Right.
Right. Meanwhile, all the artists are just eating it up.
No, totally. That's the whole thing. It's funny that, like, it's like Photoshop. Look how long it took them to come up with symmetry drawing, because it's never been a drawing program. They don't want to say it's a drawing program.
Yeah, they don't.
Right. So
I think the photographers will revolt.
Right.
All the photographers are just revolt against it.
And that's the funny thing is, like, as long as I've been using Photoshop since version 1, I've always used it as a painting tool, texture mapping tool. I'm not a photographer, but I always use it for that purpose. But I will bring my photos in and edit. But I think is that what Lightroom's all about?
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. It's interesting. It's just an interesting shift. And then, like I said, I think that the idea of Clip Studio Paint and so many of these apps, Procreate, they're really coming in. And Paint Storm is another one that's dope.
Oh yeah.
Paint Storm has been like they were, even before I think Clip Studio, like they managed to put their system right onto the iPad, and then you could work on the file. So I could literally go from my desktop to my iPad back and forth with the same file. There was no problem. So that's interesting how some people have figured it out.
Oh, quick.
Others haven't.
Can I do a quick shout out for? I sent you guys a link for Rough Animator app.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very
Yeah.
simple, but it's
Yeah.
so cool, and I've been playing with it. And you know,
Yeah, how is it?
you're doing 2D drawing, and it's like the guy who wrote it. He's an animator, and it's very stripped down. It's not like all these bells and whistles, but like if you want to add a drawing, you can like add and do on 2s or 4s, whatever, and you just hit new drawing, and it boom, boom, boom. You have your onion skin back and forward, and you can play it back, and it compresses the movie for you. I'm like, that is awesome. Now here's the thing: I've been seeing people also using Procreate, and they use the layer system, and they do their
I've seen
onion
that.
skin there,
They do
and
the
then
flipping.
put those
Yeah.
into Rough Animator. So I was like, hey, Procreate guys, check out what Rough Animator guys doing. Maybe work together or something. And like, if you guys want to get some animation capabilities, all I want is you got all the drawing tools, all the layers, onion skin. Just give us a good timeline and give me a way to manage my keyframes, and then we're set. So you can start blocking out.
Yeah, I don't want Procreate to make animation tools. I don't want that. I love that guy to get like what's that storyboarder?
Somebody
So it
gonna
is?
buy them.
Yeah.
Storyboarder. Those guys are just make an app. I love dedicated apps. I would love to be able to storyboard straight up on the iPad, but no one's done it amazingly yet. Like a full-on professional level app. Rough Animator is a dope start for sure. He just needs funding. You know what I mean? But I
Someone
think that
buy him.
there's so many opportunities with mobile, kind of the smaller setup. You know what I mean? Whether it's Mobile Studio Pro or the iPad. I think that to me is the big deal, because this idea that the iPad can plug into a 5K monitor is just super sick, right? Like if it'll drive that now, that'll be fantastic, right? So you can do so much with it. I think it's gonna get bananas from here, because what is it, Steve? It's like is it next year, 2019?
No, 2020 I think is the 10-year anniversary.
2020 is the 10th year. I mean, we've had so much. Remember 10 years ago there was none of this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
I had to dig this out of my drawer. I actually got this. This is my first gen iPad, and it's
look
still.
at that. That's like the cell phone brick.
But it's so. But you know what? Can you remember when?
Hey, what is your life? You're complaining about that thing size?
No, I know, totally. That's what I'm saying. No,
it's like a brick.
That's like back in the day.
But yeah, it is funny. It is funny when you pick the old one up.
When you pick the other one up, it's got this
Actually,
thick
my mom, my first
silver border.
I can get the second gen. And yeah, I still got that bad boy.
Yeah, they still work great.
No, totally.
I just don't know. I want to use it for something. I just don't know what it is. And there was an app that it gave you Adobe shortcuts, and then all you have to do is click the button. I was going to use it for that, but then I decided not to.
Yeah, there was Painter did that too. They had like use it as a controller.
Mm-hmm.
Painter's trying to come back up too.
Painter's trying to do something, but they gotta stop making glitter brushes and stupidness.
Yeah, you know.
Seriously, dude.
They're too artsy.
You gotta have a solid core drawing tool, right? Like, even I don't know, Sketchbook Pro. I don't know where they're at.
They're free right now. That's where they're at.
No, I know they're free, but I feel like they've stopped kind of pushing it. Or even like Mischief.
I don't think
Mischief should have been on there.
Well, Mischief got bought by
Foundry.
So,
I know, but then they didn't develop it further, because that technology for the infinite canvas was based off of, I think originally it was for some surgical application, right? And then so it's I can't remember, it's some complicated name to talk about how they do the infinite canvas, but it would be super dope to see that tool is interesting. I love the way that works. I guess it's just what are the limitations that Apple's putting on things that people can't really push? Because if you've got somebody like Procreate that's come in, I don't know where Procreate even got. Remember when Painter was called Procreate?
Yeah.
Right? It had the little bunny rabbit for their logo and stuff.
Are they owned by them?
I thought it was the same company coming back and doing something else. I don't know, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? But I think it's like companies like Procreate and Affinity that are really bringing options to the table, right? Clip Studio Paint's jumping in and becoming another thing. I think that's what everyone needs. We need people to be able to do this, and then to be able to a serious production tool. I see a lot of crazy people. It's like back in the day before people really started using Toon Boom Studio,
right?
Like storyboarder. People are using Flash to do storyboards, and like, no, stop it. Like, don't like using a weird tool to do another thing. You know what I mean?
Weird.
Just you'll do whatever you have to do to bend over, but it's so much power.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
You know,
I don't
By the way, when's the last time you actually tried to animate in Photoshop with their timeline? Never.
Oh no, it's
no, never. That's what I don't
Yo,
want that
they
to
threw
happen.
that timeline in there. People just stared at. Yeah, I see you. You cute. No. The same with the 3D stuff. No, I see you there. But I'm not
Yeah,
doing
that's
it.
why I think some of the 3D tools they're all kind of the same level. That like putty, what's that one called, Steve? Putty.
Putty? What is that?
Sculptura and stuff. I mean, they're just toys. I mean, like, give us freaking ZBrush, man.
Oh, there's a bunch of this. There's this
You use ZBrush from
Autodesk makes one called Sculpt something, right?
Sculptress.
Sculpt.
Oh yeah.
No, that's not Autodesk.
It's called
That's
Sculpt, I think.
3D or something.
Yeah, something like that. So
3D, yeah.
there's just so much potential in these things. Like I said, I think this iPad business needs to get bigger. Stop making it thinner, because I don't need anybody to tell me it bends or it can't stop a bullet or
I don't think they want to do the get into the heavy hitting software like the 3D stuff.
dude.
That's my opinion.
Why
I think they want to keep it to like
Why wouldn't you want to capture all of that market?
read
that's
that article? I think that Art Technique where they're
story of Apple in general.
Yeah, it is a story of Apple. It's the same reason they stopped supporting Avid machines, basically.
This is why you need to use a PC for things. I don't know.
I know. I get it.
It's weird.
Obviously, I think
thinner
but if
means you
have,
can't do as much, right?
But it's not Apple making the stuff, right? It's Apple opening up the hardware so it's more flexible and usable. Because it's not Apple having to develop the software.
Right, for sure.
ZBrush can just do that, right? And Blender,
Right.
like Blender grease pencil.
It's
I don't know
amazing.
if you've seen it, but it's
course,
like
yeah.
I'm starting to learn it, and it's just it gets so sick.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that idea is I just like the portability, like my Mobile Studio Pro or anything or the Apple iPad. I just want to be able to take it, do work outside because I'm a cafe like ninja dude all over the place, right? So
and that's why that Surface Book 2 is so enticing. That i7, the nicest one for $3,000. You got a workstation.
This is the power. That's the future. I like my desktop setup.
I'm gonna go ahead and save a whole bunch of people a whole bunch of money. When you go see that Windows thing, that their stylus is trash, save your money.
What you talking about?
Go get an iPad and an Apple Pencil and call it a day. I just saved you $2,000.
Which
Oh,
one
you talking
is
about the Surface Book 2?
The Surface?
Yeah.
I'm talking about their laptop. I'm not talking about that thing you're saying. Their actual laptop. Their thin laptop. The Surface Book.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like the Surface
Studio.
No, the Surface Book is like their answer to like
the Cintiq.
what Apple just did.
No, I'm
talking about like actual laptop, but it's like really thin Surface Book.
Yeah.
And they're like for $3,000 you get an i7 terabyte hard drive. Like it's legit.
Yeah.
And
totally.
you can run ZBrush and Blender and everything on that thing,
Yeah, that's the big deal. And then there's also the cloud elements, right? Like the cloud is the big deal, right? So you take something like the Apple iPad or anything that doesn't need to have a ridiculous, 2080 Ti card in it.
right?
And all of a sudden you have exactly what you need to be able to create a lot of stuff. There's a lot of awesome stories. There's like RGB, is it RGB notes? You know what I mean? It's like a review software for animation, right? So you can run the dailies and you can do all this stuff. You know what I mean? There's that kind of the cloud access to be able to do all this stuff, right? I mean, Steve and I were talking about the segue into the Google project. Steve, go.
Well, we can bring people up to date on what that is. So Google Cloud is where they're trying to get everything up on their cloud platform. And so over the summer, I was contacted by a good friend of mine who I work with in New York, Adrian Graham, who's working on that. And he was like, we want to do this thing where we're showing how we could do like a whole virtual animation production in the cloud.
Nice. Okay.
So they hired me to direct the spot. And I brought DaCosta on to help out with set design and character design. And some other, you guys remember R. Kermanikian, I brought him on for modeling. And we had Dylan, Ryan Reed was our technical director, and Craig I can't remember his last name. He was our virtual animator. So what we did is we set up. We did 2 weeks prior to the show at Moscone Center in San Francisco. We worked all virtually on a cloud platform. So it was we had this virtual machine that we can access the data center. But then when we went to Moscone Center, we didn't even have any computers. We had this little Teradici $300 zero client box, and all it was getting the pipe in. It was like the gigabyte speed, and then we were just driving the monitor and the keyboard. The only thing that happened was they didn't have the Wacom drivers optimized for Windows yet, so we couldn't. I didn't find out this until the show. We couldn't use we all had got Intuos tablets to use, and we couldn't use them. So that was kind of a bummer because I had my hand was so cramped going back to a mouse because I never use a mouse with 3D. It's all either my Cintiq or on an Intuos when I'm over my PC. So that was kind of affected us a little bit. But there's a couple of hiccups along the way. But the cool thing was that there was no lag. I mean, there was fast scrubbing. We were doing it in Maya, and the rendering at the show we used V-Ray. But I did all of my proof of concept and my look dev back here using Redshift because I could get that one quicker. We'll talk about that later too, Charlie.
Right.
But so it's kind of fun. So we had it was a quick turnaround. We only really had probably about 4 weeks to really do a lot of pre-pro and get I model the characters and did the rigging and get everything ready to go. But then at the show, it was kind of like we were doing look dev, and we only really got one pass of it done. So I have all the data. I want to go back, and I'm gonna reset up with Redshift and re-render it. But it was kind of a proof of concept to show that we could do it. And one of our animators was actually here in Burbank, and we actually had 2 monitors. So we had a monitor where we had a webcam on him, and then he had his machine. So I could actually sit there and direct him and say, "Hey, Craig, show me that scene." And I couldn't scrub, but I could watch his monitor and see him and talk to him, but then see him showing me his Maya scene. And the cool thing is we all shared the same drive. So we all shared the same. All the data was on one shared drive, and we could all access that stuff together. And it was really cool. So I think that's. And here's another thing too. So I didn't know all the details of how it was monetized, but I understand that it's down to the second. So when you use the service, you only get billed for what you use. It's also bring your own software. So you have to bring your own software and bring your own software license.
That's what I was going to ask you how they deal with all those licenses. But
yeah.
okay.
So we had two licenses of ZBrush to use. We only really use ZBrush for a little bit of stuff. And then we had Maya, and then we had the Creative Cloud stuff. So we actually used After Effects and Premiere to throw together. It was 21 shots, so it's just under a minute. There's a lot of animation, and
is this up somewhere now to watch?
So there's a link. I think I sent it to you guys earlier.
Oh yeah, in the chat. Yeah.
I sent it in the. Hold on, let me just.
Facebook chat, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie, you were saying that the thing about the licensing. That's the big deal about kind of when I did my film. It was the same idea a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. Right? Everything was Nimble was doing everything on the cloud. So that's the whole point of being able to run Blender and Maya and all the rest of this using a Surface Book. Right. So that's the power of these units. They don't have to have these standalone kind of deals. You don't have to be the island. Right. So, have all this connectivity, but it's just about the licensing. Nobody's sorted out the kind of licensing thing yet. You still, I think, well, that I'm aware of. Right. So, I think you still have to have your own for the most part, unless somebody's worked out a deal. But I don't know. I guess if you have it like a render farm scenario where you can charge, for the use, you break down the license.
That we were talking about that. Even when I started using a render farm pixel plow at work, but even that you can use the CPU side of things, right, and be good. But I switched my studio over to Redshift this year also. And that's when we get the access to the GPU side of Pixel Plow. So you have to have that license in order for you to be able to use.
So explain
their thing
before we go too far down this path. Explain to people what Redshift is.
So Redshift is an offline renderer for all the different modeling programs. It's how you render out your animations. There are different renderers you can use. Usually a 3D software, I have one that's built in. But if you want one that has a little bit more power, a little bit more flair, you can use Redshift as a GPU renderer. So it uses your video cards as the driving force to make things render faster. So if you have more video cards than your computer, your animations and stuff like that out of Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, 3D Studio Max, etc., runs faster instead of using your CPU.
And the benefit for using a standalone render versus something that comes in a 3D package?
Usually, some of it's preference, some of it's looks, and how each standalone render does something better than the other. Like stuff like Final Render or V-Ray, are really used in RenderMan. Are really some of those are used really good in architectural stuff like that. Arnold is like a workhorse for the production. It's been production proven a lot, so a lot of people like Arnold for those. That's
Cycles
on the
is
CPU
dope.
right now. Cycles is really dope, and it's also
Dude.
integrated really nicely with Cinema 4D, and they have a particle system called X Particles. It works really good with Cycles, and that's really good. And that's both GPU and CPU, so you can like do both. So a lot of times it's based off of the exact features of that render. And that's why people like go to it. Octane is another really fast renderer that also Octane as a company has been developing their cloud and stuff like that in terms of like they have this whole mindset for the future of like using what's called render tokens and using everyone that has an Octane license like all together. And so there's like a super render farm, if you will.
So
and
like
they have a whole token system. Yeah. So they have a whole token system that they've released out this year, and people buy into those so they can have access to the farm. So you can either render at home on your computer at home, or you can use what's called a render farm online, where businesses have a bunch of different either CPUs or GPUs available for you to render your stuff out for a certain cost based on how they have their system set up.
Nice.
Can I interject for 1 second, Steve? Did you find that thing?
All good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I posted it in the group chat.
Oh, okay. Did anybody see? Did you guys talk about Next Gen, the movie?
The full Blender movie that was bought by Netflix? No, we haven't, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, totally.
Spoiler alert.
It looked great.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
How'd you like the story?
No, I mean, but just in terms of kind of what's the ability of like a program like Blender, which is free.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think it's such a powerful tool, and I think we just need we need that next level, because for so long nobody really looked at Blender like it could do anything powerful. You know what I mean? And I think we're living in such an awesome age now where there's so much software, so many options, and it's just an amazing. It's an amazing time. The technology is ridiculous, really, especially from a creative standpoint. Like, I can't remember the movie where you just could stop. You couldn't tell that it wasn't CG,
right?
Or as your mom says, CGI. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it just stopped being that line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just amazing to me now.
Yeah, and funny you should bring this up too, DeCosta, because in the next couple episodes, even like a spoiler for next week, we're gonna start talking about the notion of we'll call it the upgrade for Blender, and what does it mean for Blender 2.8, and the rechanging of the UI, the rechanging of their hotkeys and stuff like that to put it more in line with all the other 3D software out there. Which even when I was working,
I've been talking about this
yelling
for so
about that. Yeah.
Any software that wants to jump into the deep end, please spend energy on either making it work like everyone else, or have an easy conversion kit. Like here's a Maya work, and it just lets people map all their stuff exactly like their Maya or whatever it is. That's the best way to get people on board. Don't like Blender with the left click versus the right click thing.
Yo, why they still have that even?
Dude,
why? Who selects with right click? No,
I know. Well, I don't understand. And then that's like the Sketchbook Pro. It's like I love, you want to tap the space bar to zoom in. I get it. You're independent. You're doing a new thing. Stop it.
Yeah.
I need my zoom key.
I think that's why they waved the white flag and made it
That one
free too.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I really like.
You like the
I don't,
space bar?
I don't need to tie up my fingers doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I hit the space bar and real fast, and you just keep on.
But you're gonna hit the. You're not gonna hit the. You still got to hit a key in every other program, but it's not the space bar, dude.
No.
And if I'm flying back and forth between that and something else, the muscle memory thing is just every other program but those dudes. I just need. It's great that you have it. I love it. Don't change. Just give me the option to change it.
Change it. Oh, okay. So you can make it your own. Yeah.
Right. That's the whole thing. It's all about you want to have that style, but you need to be more flexible and allow people an easier time. It's just people talk about Clip Studio Paint. It's like, oh, I can't get anything started in it. It's like I don't know where stuff is. It's like that's the problem. It's always the transition. It's the pain.
Yeah, everybody can't be so awesome and so unique that they don't have to change. I'm looking at you, ZBrush.
No, right? Like the Kai's power tools.
Yeah.
Remember
Kai's power tools?
Yeah, I remember that.
Even hardware, like it took.
Or Bryce.
How long it took how long to just say stop to cut the crap and actually jump in on USB?
Right? Where were they using? What was their thing there? What was their Apple version of that?
Up to now, their data cables have been faster than everyone else's. But then USB was like, yo, check this out. Boom. So now not only does data transfer faster, but now because they have the USB-C, now you can actually use your iPad to push out power and charge your iPhone. You can't do that with anything else.
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah, there's certain things that people shouldn't be fighting. This idea of proprietary cables, they got to stop this thing. The cable business is not where you want to make money.
I can do it on that.
Yeah.
They love that USB-C.
Word.
Yo, but getting back to what we were saying with keep staying tuned for everybody who's listening for the next couple shows where we start talking about Blender and bringing on a bunch of people and talking about a bunch of stuff, because I was really excited this year when I always check back in, working at CG Cookie for like 2 years, teaching Blender and doing all that stuff. I always check back in on it, and I was like, it's happening. It's finally happening. And then I would send stuff to Jack, and Jack would be like, that grease pencil though. It's really enticing for animators and people, right? And then it was just the interface. And now that I saw they have tabs, you can click into the sculpting tab, the compositing tab, the animation tab, the modeling tab, and then the hotkeys are all different. They're not this weird use the D key and the H key and the J key and weird combinations that don't make sense. So I'm really excited. So we'll keep talking more about that in the next coming weeks.
Most definitely.
Yeah, cool.
I like to see what Moto's been doing.
Oh, it's been quiet for them.
Yeah, I think 3 Pro people have been talking about Moto kind of pissing people off about their licensing restructuring and stuff.
Are they doing a subscription? Because I feel like every software company should be at a subscription model by now.
New kind of hard sell on stuff. Yeah, it's like I haven't upgraded my Moto for years, and I rarely use it because Maya is my go-to. Maya and ZBrush.
Yo, Moto messed up. We're gonna act like people didn't remember when they came out in SIGGRAPH and SIGGRAPH 04. I was at that SIGGRAPH and they came out and they had the big, huge Apple style thing, and the guy real quickly when he first started, before he started to talk, I remember very vaguely, he started playing around with the how they show the program on the screen. He was like, some people are used to interfaces like this, and they changed that Moto interface, so the early version of Moto, and it looked just like Max. But some people may like interfaces like this, and it looked just like Maya, and everybody was like, it's happened, down to everything. It looked just like it. We're here at Moto want to make sure you can use the program however you feel, and it's going to be totally customizable. And then when it came out, totally different. I don't know if they got hit with some I think laws or something back.
You could make it like that, and so you can customize. They weren't going to give you the skins per se. I think that's
what people thought. It's like, oh, these got the presets, but it also has the power to be able to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anybody actually go to the links that I saw on the screen of making it look just like it, instead of them just having a template preset of a layout, because it still looked like Moto, and I was like, oh, this could be like the God program, and then they kind of went away, because that was like my best thing from that trip of like that program's gonna be it.
Yeah, they're super powerful. They did some really good stuff. I think that it's funny that once you get they were bought by Foundry as well, right?
Yeah.
And then that's where these programs go to die, right? Wherever it is. Right?
People usually say that about Autodesk, yeah.
Right? So
once Autodesk bought Mudbox, it died. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's opportunity, and I guess it's the politics of who wants what to succeed and who's pushing whatever forward. In the grand scheme of things, once you stay in the Blender realm, you're kind of so community driven and powered that you don't have this big, conglomerate on top of you just crushing you.
But the updates are awesome. That's the best thing about open source, and I don't know how does that work legally with open source and stuff like that, because I just came across a really heavily community driven program that's open source called Natron, which is literally a copy of Nuke. Literally, Jack, have you ever looked at it yet?
Yeah, I think we talked about it on the previous show.
Yeah. So like,
pretty crazy how much of a ripoff that is.
Watching it, the Facebook group is growing like crazy, kind of similar to like when I've been on a couple other programs like the Notch program we talked about years ago, and now that group is blown up. It's good for experiential stuff like what I do at work. But like I'm watching this group, and I've been watching this program, and like they keep adding stuff, and it's like literally I took classes and stuff in Nuke last year, like literally down to hotkeys, where I was just like didn't even look at the manual. I was just like, oh, is the shuffle node? Is that the same hotkey? Oh, it is. Is this the same hotkey? Oh, it is. Like, is this the same hotkey? Oh, it is. Like, and it looks like a cruder version of it, but it's amazing. It's a full-fledged compositor.
Oh, yeah.
There's a 3D tracker in it, camera tracker, but as a 2D, but it's good. But it's all open source. So I don't know what's the loophole. Is it still the Wild Wild West with open source products like those?
Yeah, no, I think it depends on how they're developing, and if that compared to people making stuff for open source is just, I would assume that you have to sign the idea that people can modify and do whatever, right? But in terms of copying, I don't know what that deal is, because I don't think you can copyright certain things, right? So in terms of look or
it's
trademark
exactly
those
like
things.
Side by side, it's like you could tell it's not it, but it's like very like everything about it's the same. Almost,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
No, I was gonna say you can tell it's not it because it looks like a copy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It looks like it, but it
The menu system is misspelled.
well, things are a little boxier when they should be sleek.
Yeah, like just
up. Why do I have to go to fillet?
like 30% less attention to the design.
Yeah, totally.
The Natron's like, don't worry about how my face looks. You're here to work.
Pretty much.
We work in a dark room here.
All right, I got to jump out. I know at some point, hopefully, we're going to talk about VR, but I got to go.
All right,
All right.
All right, buddy. We have you on next time then. Yeah.
We'll do another VR episode.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I'll talk
Bring
to
you back to more. Yeah.
We're almost deaf. If there's another VR episode coming up, call me up.
Sure.
Oh, we'll make it.
VR.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, I like me some
sketch.
VR. Oh yeah, we could talk about that. Yeah.
In VR. It'll have to be in VR.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that might be complicated. But let's do it.
Let's jack in anyway.
All right,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
let's try it. See you, buddy.
All right, we're peace.
Later, dude.
See ya.
So, Steve.
So now that he's gone, let's talk about VR.
Steve, so it's been a while, Steve.
Yeah.
Since you've been on. What else have you been up to? There's been another thing you've been working on, right? Last year.
Let's see. Well, let's see. A year ago, right before SIGGRAPH, I decided to build a PC.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. I was yelling at my computer on all your updates.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I was getting frustrated because I couldn't do any VR. Everyone's like, hop on the VR bandwagon. I'm like, I want to do this, and I couldn't do anything on this Mac Pro cylinder. And I wanted to start getting into GPU rendering, which also I couldn't do. Right. And I think the eGPUs are just coming out, but like, no, it's like I need something that's native and it's all PC based.
You gave it a good college try, right? You were really trying to make it work at first on the Mac side of things, right? Before.
Yeah, I mean, here's the, I still use my Mac every day. I'm actually sitting at my Mac right now. So what happened was I built my PC, I set it up right over here, and literally 2 weeks after I built that, I got contacted by AMD, and they were looking for a couple artists to give a Threadripper system to test out. And I didn't even know this, that I was able to keep this machine. And I just needed to do a couple of like YouTube videos, and they liked my social media presence and whatever. So I was like, thank you for the offer. And so I got this killer Threadripper system. So I started using that, and I have a 1080 Ti card in that one. So shortly after that system was done, I was like, I'm gonna start jumping into GPU renting. So I took the other 1080 Ti card out and put it in. So I had 2 cards in, and I tried out Octane for a little bit, but it didn't play well with Maya at the time.
Did it crash on you a lot?
Yeah, I just couldn't get it going. And then I downloaded the demo of Redshift, and I bought it. Like, I played with it for like 2 hours. I was like, $500, I'm buying it. And I used it on a job, and I paid off for it like quickly. I had to do like 24 renders of like, 600 DPI character renderings. And I set this thing up, and I was like, just flew through the renders. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I was like a convert from day one.
Yo, it's awesome.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. So I use it for everything. And Arnold is the render now that ships with Maya, but you have like only one license, whatever. But I was like, I bought Redshift. And so just recently, like 2 weeks ago, I finally got in on the second wave of the orders for the RTX cards, the 2080 Ti's.
Yeah.
So I got the Founders Edition card, thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to put 3 cards in there. And it did work for a while, but I was overheating because the thing is I couldn't put the RTX 2080 Ti in the bottom slot for some reason because the blower's down.
Yeah, it wouldn't fit. Yeah,
on the card. So I did run some tests, and it was great. It flew through stuff, but I had to take it out because I didn't want it to ruin it. So right now I'm just running one 1080 and one 2080 Ti.
You got to get a bigger case.
No, my case is a gigantic case. It's just like I got to figure out. I don't know if the thing is there's some issues with I think they want the 2080. The newest card needs to be in the first slot or something, and the motherboard wasn't recognized. And also, I was having some issues with it's an Asus motherboard, so it's a Zenith Extreme. It's an amazing board, but for some reason, when I was going to the BIOS, it wasn't recognizing the PCI slots on something. I updated the firmware, and then it wasn't working. A buddy of mine was telling me you need to go in and do something called I'm gonna totally forget what it is. It's under System Agent. There's like you need to enable or disable something when you have more than 2 graphics cards in your machine. So I couldn't even find that setting. So I was like at tech support with Asus and like, yeah, we have to figure this out. So I have some ticket open with them. They're figuring it out. But
it feels like a syndrome of being so new then. Yeah.
Yeah. So then a buddy who runs the Facebook group for Redshift, Saul Espinoza, he sat with me one night and he's like, you really need to get Deadline hooked up. And so it took like 4 hours because I did it in the wrong order. It was really confusing setting it the first time because you have to install like the client. They have to install the slave. I'm like, what? I did the wrong order, and I had a certificate that I wasn't supposed to do. So he talked me through this whole thing. But once I got up and running, I was like, this is amazing. I'm like, I was like, how's this scale? It's like, because like if you're in Maya and you say the batch render, you say you take off all 3 cards and it just like throws all 3 cards at it. But that's not the most efficient way to do it. What you do is you say use each 1 task per GPU.
Right.
It's like you have a render node. So I set up these renders, and I was like, I did a test render for this project I'm working on. It took like 47 minutes to render like 250 frames at 2K. So I did it with all 3 cards just blown at it, and I think it came down to like 35 minutes or whatever. And then when I got Deadline set up, and I actually ticked them off as individual nodes, it went down another 7 minutes.
So elevator pitch for Deadline. If people don't know what Deadline is, how would you explain it?
So here's the thing: it's a render management software, and like years ago I used a thing called Smedge, which was like another one of those things. Like when I have a bigger studio, they usually use these things. But when I'm at home, I just would do the batch render or set up my image sequence and just do it. But now the cool thing is if you're running multiple GPUs, you want to use something like this because first of all, it's free. It's free to use.
Okay.
It's free to use up to 2 machines even. So I have it on my Mac now, and I'm trying to get them to talk. So like if I want to do like say RenderMan or Arnold, and I'm over here and I want to use my little render farm now, I can hit and submit the job and use the processors. I have the dual D700s here on the Mac Pro, and I have the
You
card
could
on
use
the
the
PC.
2080s. Oh,
I'm trying. I haven't gotten it to work yet. I haven't been too busy on this other job, so I got deadline running on both machines. I'm still trying to get them to talk to each other, but it's cool. So I love it because it's like, oh yeah, I remember using this back when I was like freelancing at other places. When I was at Blue Sky, we'd have render management software, and you can keep track of your jobs. You can pause a job. You can see, you have all your diagnostics in your info. So I love it. So Deadline, yeah, I've only used it now for like just 2 weeks, but it's great.
cool.
Yeah.
So like allows you to just like streamline those GPUs that you have in your computers.
Absolutely,
And what does it do? It just tells it gives better instructions rather than just throwing all your
So
GPUs at your render.
Yeah, so like Maya is my main DCC app, and the thing is, how Redshift is set up, you can't. I think you can do like a command line, but it's all convoluted and stuff. It's like if you're inside Maya, you have to go through and say batch render, but you only have you can't do like a batch render an image sequence. You have to do a batch render and just let it run, and it runs in the window.
Yeah.
But what you do with Deadline is you're submitting a job. So what it does is you set up all your frame range of what you want to do, but then you say in the Deadline thing, you say you want to do like maybe like I'm going to do like this section of frames and this section of frames, and you can set up different tasks, and you can set up multiple jobs. So I could say I'm going to set up this render sequence. Let's say I have to render like a 200 or 300 frame sequence. I can submit that job. Then I could open up another scene and work on another scene. I'm not tied into rendering something inside Maya. So I can set up my jobs and say I can set up a bunch of different render jobs,
Nice.
the my render farm, and just keep on working that way.
Which DTC program does it support? Does it support Cinema 4D?
Yeah, it supports everything.
Okay, cool.
They pretty much work with everyone. Check out their website, but they support everybody.
Nice.
And I think they also might work with cloud-based stuff. So like if you like, and I know for a fact, but like I know like if you want to use like the Zinc render or the Google Cloud Platform, I think you might be able to use that to access cloud-based stuff as well. So you can submit your.
I wonder if you can use Deadline on Pixelpot. Okay, cool.
I think you can. I should before I. Let me just look it up here because I'm pretty sure you can.
So with that being said,
big box software.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Here you go.
Well, here's a question while you're looking that up. So like, because I think this is very interesting when artists gets things sent to them, stuff like that. What was the end goal for AMD? Did you have to produce a bunch of images? Like how did they get their return? Did you do
So they were just like we love your social media presence and we want you to create X amount of videos, and I think I did a blog post, and then they came out and they shot a video of me in my garage and how I work with it.
Oh, okay,
that was cool. Okay. So that was kind of that's how I shot online. That's on YouTube too. I can show you that link. Yeah, so it was just me. I spent a couple of months with it, and I mean, it was great because I was so proud of the PC that I built. Like I researched it for like months, and I got the perfect case, and I did an Intel i7 7700K, and I got my Oculus Rift and everything. I set everything up, and then 2 weeks later, I literally had this opportunity fall in my lap. And like, had I known this, I wouldn't have gone and built the PC. I would have just gone and Rift. Yeah. So I'll just say again, thank you to AMD because it was an amazing thing to be part of that, and now I'm hopefully maybe gonna get an upgrade to the Threadripper. They're on generation 2 now, and see if I can maybe get that one in there and use that and put that one to the test as well.
So then you're gonna just send that old one to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you the chip. Here's my little video they put together, and it was kind of fun. They came through, and I always like robots. Kind of hate this to myself. I don't like robots. So you can watch that video. This was a shot last fall when I had short hair, and it was great because Willa came home when they were shooting, so I got to have her featured in here. She's my little studio mate working with me in the back.
Nice.
So that's kind of a fun little thing to do, and you can see my messy cable setup on my machine. But it was fun. It was like that's another thing too. Is like being able to run VR. I mean, I love VR now, and just kind of getting that into my pipeline and going in there. Oculus Medium is the kind of main one right now, and Gravity Sketch is getting there as well. You can do like patch-based stuff, and Masterpiece VR. I did some cool stuff with them as well, with a Microsoft and a Samsung initiative. They sent me a Samsung headset, which was okay to use. It was the Windows mixed reality system, so I tried that one, and I still prefer the Rift. I just like the Rift. I like the touch controllers. I think are the best.
Right.
So it's here's the thing. So my I'm really busy right now, but I downloaded Houdini.
Oh man.
Yeah, it is.
Man, I saw the new stuff and it looks so cool. At Vellum, all the Vellum stuff is just blowing my mind. So I want to learn it. Another situation where it's like, why do they have? They're not using WER for translation, rotation, scaling. They're doing ERT. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Why?
Yeah,
why can't standard just be standard? So anyhow, so I'm learning that. I did download Blender like a month ago, and I've been trying to poke around at that as well.
The 2.8 one? You've been doing an experimental one?
I barely have time to touch it. Yeah. I got it. I don't even know what version I have right now, but I've been following. Do you follow Vaughn Lings? He's been doing a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, I see some of that kind of stuff. I'm like, I want to check it out. And what was the thing I was going to say? So Houdini, I'm kind of learning. Oh. And then for the VR stuff, I'm really starting to get into more of like, I know there's Unity and Unreal. I kind of chose Unreal because I just kind of like, it's just
rendering,
more like Maya to me. And I know both of them are capable. I've gone to a Unity user group meeting out here in LA, which is great. Like they showed all the cool, the Atom short they did, and the Neil Blomkamp stuff that they're doing is amazing. So like, I'm like, pick whichever one you want. So I'm just like, I can't learn. It's like, we took talking about how do you spend your Steve bucks? How do you spend all that free time? I only have X amount of time to learn so much. Like, kind of, I'm trying to jack in and go, okay, now I know Unreal. It's like, now I know Houdini. It's like, that just takes time. Like, when you're younger and you're single and you have a family and you have all that free time in the world, you can just go home and spend all the time doing stuff. But I don't have that time anymore. It's like, I can't stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning every night like I used to. It's like, it's hard to like prioritize what you want to learn. So I try to grab an hour here, try to grab an hour there, and just watch you. The thing is, the hardest part too is also filtering out and finding the right tutorials to watch. Because
that's the worst. Because like the fast forward button is the best thing ever. Because now I don't want to hear about. Show me what I need to see. Let's go.
Like people needed to learn how to edit their tutorials because they will go on and on. I'm like, I just wanted to, how do you do this? And it's like 10-minute video. No, it could have been done in 2 minutes.
Right. Because everybody does the whole YouTube. It's the YouTuber type of thing. Hey guys, welcome back to this. We want to show you about this today. No, let's get into it. We should already be talking about what you said in your title.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we were talking about this too. It's like, I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's like, whatever. How can you remember the last time we had to worry about how many renderers we had to choose from? It's like I got like 7 renderers I can choose from and use. Back in the day, it was Mental Ray, Or when I was at Blue Sky, it was like the proprietary renderer, which was great. So everything had to be ground out to spit through that into that. But it's like now it's like you have all the stuff at your disposal. You have Blender for crying out loud, and free software. It's like it's just amazing to see how being an artist, being a CG artist today in this day and age now, it's like, it's just so open to what you can do.
Yeah. And even, it still boggles the mind of like this YouTube, the like living encyclopedia for things, or Google in general, where like the whole notion in the community used to be like very minimalistic when it came to tutorials and how things actually got done. Almost like a mystique.
Spill the beans on how they did something is all
right. You just show that square and then you show the final piece.
Yeah,
and there's like 2 pages of fluff in between, or like talking about how they made it instead of showing it.
Yeah,
so I love the information now and stuff like that. So it's been great. So in your time now, do you just do a lot more directing, if you will, on things? Or are you still on the box animating and doing stuff like that outside of the personal work stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I've done 2 directing gigs, and I do a lot of character design still. So I've done a couple cool gigs for like overseas clients. Where some of the fun ones are, they just like, hey, we just want to hire you to like do 2D concept sketches before to see if we can get this job. I'm like, okay, cool. So I've done a couple of those. I worked with a company overseas that Toys R Us is still active in Europe, and I got to work with this Copenhagen company to design and just model their new characters because they like my robots were in someone's mood board at the agency. So when they were bidding on the job, so I actually worked with them. They paid me to do 1 week of modeling, and I used Redshift and I just banged out a cool concept, and then they got the job based on that, and then they came back to me and I did 5 more characters for them.
Yeah,
Nice.
That was cool, and I didn't have to worry about rigging too. I just have to all I did was model them. That was great.
Just living the dream of like the model with nothing and just handing it off.
Dude, I didn't have to worry
Dream.
I didn't have to worry about good UV. So I did UV it for them, but I didn't have to worry about like this crazy thing because it was all procedural stuff.
And then you do your nice Redshift render and it looks amazing. It's like, okay, cool. Here you go. Have fun with it.
They were using Redshift too, which is cool. So I was able to send them the shaders, and they were able to take that and so all this is still just I'm still doing also because we the last time we talked was probably 2 years ago, but I'm still in development right now with my show. It's changed.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Last year was the year of pitches. So last year, talked to 5 companies, Disney Junior, Netflix, Amazon, all of them. We did the pitches. I got a budget to do an animated test 2 years ago. So we used that. And then we did have a pitch Bible. And then we were commissioned to do a script. And so that was last year. And now this year, everything changed. Now we're all of a sudden, we're in a different position. We're in talks with a big animation studio. I won't say it yet, so I won't give it a spell anything. But now we're in talk. We're negotiating about trying to get the show picked up, and it's like I'm finding it. The whole thing is like there's all these pieces to the puzzle. So it's like you have one studio on board, and then if they're on board, then a toy person might be interested, and then with those two now they can go and shop to the network. So there's all these prongs that are trying to get worked out right now, the negotiations and how much is the show going to cost and blah, blah, blah. And, because you're doing it not locally, there's tax incentives, blah, blah, blah. I'm learning all this stuff. So like, fortunately, I'm just like, I don't have to deal with that stuff. I'm just like, keep me up to date, so I get a script here. And,
keep me up to date. Yeah.
So the thing is like, until the ink is actually, signed on the contract, it's still, so it's been 5 years since it was first contact. They made first contact with me in October of 2013 when I was doing October. That's when they saw that Henson first saw my bots, and they were like, "Hey, we want to talk to you at CTN." And that was 2013. And then it was 2014 when I finally got to go visit Henson for the first time and start the ball rolling. And then it was up and down. And then I ended up art directing on that show Word Party for them for a whole season. So it's been good, but it's like I have to keep on taking freelance stuff here and there and keep on doing that. I did a cool job with a local company A52, which is part of their what is it main house? What's the main house called? It's Area 52, and Elastic is the motion graphics department. So I did a cool spot with them, and I'm working on a cool project right now that I can't divulge yet, but it's a
sure you can.
It's a musical concert tour. I'll just put it that way. And I'm doing some cool shit, and I'm really excited because it's one of my favorite performers. And I've been working on this for the last 4 months now, and it's just starting to kind of come out. We've been asked to kind of like let their social media kind of drive it a little bit before we say we're involved. So it's kind of out, and it's getting out there just in the last couple of days. But hopefully will hit the tour. Hopefully hit it's scheduled hopefully early the first quarter next year.
All right.
So a lot of work's going on right now. Just do a ton of songs. I think it's like maybe 12 to 14 songs.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's gonna be cool.
When you get all this freelance things, do you use an agent? Or is
I
it all
don't.
you?
No.
Okay.
I think I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I still get a lot of hits on Behance.
Really? No, I don't think we talked about this before last time.
I haven't been updating my Behance. I kind of keep my ArtStation more recent than my Behance, to be honest.
Huh.
But I have been getting. I got 2 hits on ArtStation recently.
That's
but I still get hits
interesting.
on Behance. This job I'm working on was due to some people I worked back in New York years ago, and then this local thing happened because my daughter and goes to school with the guy's son. They're in the same class, and so and he used to work at the mill. Now he's over at Elastic, so he's like, which I'm trying to find something we could work on. And we finally found something. We did this thing together. I got to design a bunch of cool stuff and work with them on that. So that's a good relationship. So it's like, I've been lucky because, I've been doing this for a long time where it's like people know my name and like I'm on radar, where I know that a lot of younger people might have a hard time getting into that slot. And where I always tell them, if you can find an in somewhere, it doesn't have to be a big house. It could be at a small house.
Right.
You get in there and you kind of like do jack of all trades for a year or 3. When I started off, I started off at Ronda Graphics, and I was like it was 4 of us, and we wore all hats. And that's what I did for 7 years before I went to Blue Sky. And then I got to kind of hone in on character animation. And then after that, I got to do some directing, and then I started doing more character design. So it's like, don't think that you're gonna like go to school and then get a job at Pixar or ILM right away.
Yeah.
Or it's like you gotta kind of find your niche and get your way in. So
For sure.
And always work.
and that's not to say that I had dry spells too. I mean, like early last year I had a 3-month dry spell, which sucked, and then like over the summer I was triple booked, so it's like it's the life of a freelancer, man. It
goes in ebb and flows.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you, man, those dry spells are tough because, yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate that my wife works. She's like permaland. She's a producer, so we've got that. But it's like I need to contribute too. So it's like you got to take it what you can. And I always hate it when like those dry spells kick in. And I'm like sending out the emails to like everyone, like, hey, you got anything going on? And it's tough. But and then all of a sudden, then someone will come by and say, hey, we have this job for you. And then all of a sudden, then it rains. It's like, hey, what's your booking like next week? I'm like, oh shit, I just like someone asked me about my availability, and then like another one comes by and like, you got to be kidding me. It's like, why is like what's going on with the
I hear that happens a lot, like sometimes, because then when it rains, like you said, it pours, but like then you gotta like do the whole hold thing and like just to kind of be like, okay, cool.
Or I'll take on the second job. I'll take on the third job and be like, okay, I got to work this weekend, or I'm stay up late and do this. So it's like, you got to do what you can.
Yeah,
but I think that's one of the points that I always try to tell younger folks. Don't get wrapped up in keeping up with the Joneses when it comes to buying, the Apple, the latest and greatest thing, because a healthy financial standing helps you through whatever the hell it is, through the dry spells. So you have to plan for that. Unless you're full-time, and even after that, even if you are full-time, because that happened to me, you need to make sure that everything is paid off, and look at your career and your setup in your office kind of the same way a corporation does, right? It takes a corporation like 6 months to wait, or even a year to get the latest and greatest. And the reason is that they're making sure that they can pay all that stuff cash. You don't want to put things on your credit card, because when the dry spells hit,
the payments still there.
The payments, number one, the payments don't stop. Number two, the stress is at an all-time high.
Yeah. Because
you have to find work, but now you have to pay your bills. So now the stress of having to hurry up and find a job happens. Whereas if you had everything and you had your little nest egg, then you can like be a little bit pickier. You can breathe a little easier. You can maybe even take that. What is it? A lot of the 2D animators, they call it a hiatus. You can take a hiatus and work on a kid's book, or work on that one project that you've always been wanting to work on, rather than stressing out and biting your nails and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Absolutely.
Right, for sure.
I wanted to talk to you about because now that DaCosta's gone, now we get all the nitty gritty. You had like a virtual, you had a virtual animation studio going. What was it like working with a virtual team that was, because DaCosta's in Vancouver and you said that you had another guy down in LA. What was that like?
It was a little bit challenging. I kind of forced myself to use use all the Google products. So make extensive use of Hangouts and like the Google Sheets and all that. I was like in the Google ecosystem. I was a full blown for a couple months there. One thing it was kind of funny was that and the communication, trying to keep track of everyone. So I would have a window. I would have a Hangout for each team member.
Damn.
And then we had a group chat.
Oh man. Okay.
So I'm like if I just need to talk to my technical director guy, but the lighter guy, and say, hey, have you been doing some looked up on the program? Everyone doesn't need to hear that conversation,
right?
But everyone needs to hear the conversation about, hey guys, so here's the latest rough cut. Can we all take a look at this? And then you're wondering, like, is everyone seeing is everyone seeing what you're doing? And then and then like some other people are like, one other team member was like, text me on Messenger. I'm like, dude, can you stay on Hangouts because I got to Hangouts because I can cut and paste stuff there. They have to go to Messenger. Yeah. So you're just trying to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Right.
And then once you kind of get in that flow, you're just making sure that it's like a couple times I'm like, hello, is everyone listening? Did everyone see this? Like you can kind of see if someone gets the link, you can kind of see who sees. I think, but it's like can someone? Hey, you guys, did everyone respond? And like people start talking over like no, can you go back like 3 steps to what I said? This is the one note I needed to address. So you got to kind of
got to kind of wrangle them and keep them. Yeah.
So part of it, like,
we use Slack here too.
And we weren't doing video Hangouts. It was all just
chat.
Type.
Yeah.
So that was kind of tough.
Now Google did build something for that now too, that Hangouts chats too, that they just added, where it's for teams for that stuff. It's kind of like a Slack, but it's built in. It just started.
At one point, we talked about maybe trying to use Slack, but I think it was like they wanted let's use all Google stuff. So, so the thing was also it's like I knew this was the conference was 3 days. There's no way we're gonna get this like full blown polished piece done. It was gonna be a lot of like cooking show type of stuff. Like everything has to be prepared beforehand. Mm-hmm. Animation has to start a little like the week before. I mean, there's so much work on this thing. And then we got to the show and we actually stayed at the convention center the first night before the show opened. We stayed up to like, I think they kicked us out at like 12:30.
Damn.
Like because they were still set up. Like how it is like the day before the show, like all the cranes are out and they lay the carpet for the last 10 minutes before the show opens. So there's literally people set up and it was a cool setup. The whole here's the thing, Google, I swear, man, and this is just the Google Cloud division of Google, right?
Yeah.
They had the whole downtown San Francisco was all cloud stuff. They had it in 7 different locations, like Moscone North, South, West, Buena Center. They had the whole. I was like, you gotta be kidding me! How much money did they spend on just this? And this is just one division of Google.
Like Google money, man.
It was cool. It was like,
right.
They said it was like there's probably like it was like a small SIGGRAPH. It was like about 30,000 people.
Damn.
I think showed up to this thing. It was huge.
Google just pulled back the veil a little bit for you and was like, just so you know how much money I actually have.
It was crazy. So the thing is, so we were setting up and we had a little bit of issues trying to get some of the stuff hooked up and then when we went to DID, we're like, can we just stay here at the convention center because we got the gigabit connection? Can we just stay here and work? So the first night we were still scrambling to get a lot of stuff set up to go, and then Tuesday morning the show floor opens, so then we're like, okay, we just gotta we're just working. So they had us kind of in this little area that looked like there was like a marquee with we were like the last one in this whole line of services. So we're like the virtual cloud thing and the animation thing. And so we, the 4 of us are sitting behind this little like roped off thing and people can kind of come and talk to us, but they're not supposed to bother us. And I was like, and then we had a monitor so I could go and switch between everyone's work monitor to show what's going on. But it ended up me just being like, I was trying to animate too, but I was like, I couldn't animate. I had like 3, I tried to save 3 shots to animate. And I just couldn't get to them because I was like having to be like in 4 different areas overseeing stuff.
Yeah.
So my animator Craig just did an amazing job, and I threw so much stuff at him. It's like, hey, I need this, thing, whatever. And then I had to like stop what I was doing to get a promo piece ready because they're gonna be featured on the keynote the next morning. So we had to put together a little video, and one of the guys from Bebop, who is the company that is like the software that orchestrates the coming from into the system. This one guy did a great job of. He was always shooting footage behind it. So you'll see in the blog post, they talk up the first like minute is like a little like, here we are at Google Next, and then they kind of show our thing. And it's not up to my specs as a finished piece. There's a lot of little errors that we didn't get to finish on it. So it's kind of a little bit like I wish we could have finished it, but it was impossible at the show to finish it. It was more of a proof of concept, like here's what we can do, you know.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it was fun. Like I said, having everyone work off the same drive was great. So there's never
cool.
Making a duplicate of this. We had to get our pipeline down. So like every shot, we're gonna have our own folder for the shot, and then make sure like you just append your initial after it. And then we were doing everything was referenced. So fortunately, the references didn't.
Really?
Oh yeah. So we did all the character rigs were referenced into the animation, and the animations files were referenced into the lighting, which worked great. So if I needed to change the animation and you just update it, it propagates to the lighting, and it worked. And so then what we did was, and I think I was like, let's just do all the lighting and materials on the characters in their main file. That'll save us from having to change stuff down the road. So we did all look dev on and like saved out a version of the character rig with materials. Then that got propagated into the animation that went into lighting.
Right.
All that's on the cloud?
Yeah, on the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm actually using that right now in this job I'm working on. I'm doing the same thing. It's like
what job is that?
Mine used to break all the time, but they fixed it. So there's like prefix and stuff. It's now it works pretty solid. So you got a rig, the character's rig with materials, registered materials, and then I reference that into my animation file. Then I make my lighting file as a reference of the animation. So the cool thing is I can just swap out. Like I have like about 4 shots that have the same lighting. So I just duplicate that file and swap out the animation, and I have to relight, which is awesome. So when it works great.
So how does that work then? So you're working on your computer. Do you then send those files to cloud? You're not working on the cloud in real time, are you? Or
yeah.
Okay, you are. Okay.
Oh yeah. So let me backtrack. So the machines, I forgot to say, the machines are configured. They're in the cloud. So for me, I was like, oh yeah, I get the idea that there's a render server in the cloud, but you're talking about the machine. And it was like, no.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking. Yeah.
So they basically, because if you need like 4 CPUs and you want 3 GPUs, we just configure it. Someone goes over to the data system and they plug it in, boom, 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 and you're down for a minute, and then you're back up, and then you just deployed and you got what you needed.
Whoa.
That's what it's like.
They basically have
supercomputer.
They basically have Maya and Photoshop and everything running on that one machine, and you're accessing it over the internet.
Yes.
If you have the licenses for those programs, right?
Bring your own license.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So when you're at home, you can get a zero client machine, but if you don't need a zero client machine, you could just have like our animator just use the Bebop software. So it's like if you're running like a VMware or Parallels software.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. You're just running a virtual client that is, when you run the client, you're just accessing it. There's 3 data centers. So there's like a Midwest, Southwest, and then Eastern data centers that you grab from. And then there's like different ones. And then Google had just opened up an LA center. They had this big announcement in LA. So that went live, like I think like the week before the show in San Francisco. And so we were grabbing data from that. So there's ways that you pick the one closest to your region.
Right.
And then the machines I think the machines were living in Portland is where the machines were configured, this particular one.
Damn.
And so it just worked. And I was kind of blown away. I was like, people come by, I'm like, there's no machine under my desk. The box is literally like, it's this big. It's like, 5 inches by 6 inches by like 2 inches. And all it is, there's a bunch of chips in there that just decode the signal coming from the fat pipe. So it goes right to your thing. So the thing is, you can be at home working with an internet connection. You might have a little bit of latency lag, But if you have like a Teradici box and you have a fast connection,
Yeah.
it was pretty. I mean, I was scrubbing scenes and I was like, "There's no lag."
Why do I need to upgrade anymore?
So exactly. So that's the thing. So it's like
I got a fiber connection over here. I kind of want to try that. We got to talk prices after this. Go ahead, keep going.
yeah. So the thing is, so the pricing, I still don't know the full pricing, but I think they have more information on the website. But I can get you in touch with the guy to talk to about it. But
Sounds good.
The thing is, it's all about ramping up what you need. So if you're a small guy and like I might be working on this big project coming up, and if I need to hire a small crew, what if I just go the cloud route and say, okay, we're gonna pay for that?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Versus having to have make sure someone has the exact hardware and the software. If you have the license for it, you can deploy those licenses. So I think it's like it's something to look into definitely, and I think it's going to change visual effects work for sure.
It's very interesting because you just instantly even for smaller studios like the one I work for, like the 20 to 30 man studios or whatever, that like upgrading and like keeping the computers to a certain tier, because a lot of what I do during the day is like pipeline stuff of like, all right, how can we know we need this so that we can do this better, right? Like the cloud brings an interesting solution to the mix in terms of like, all right, cool. Well, yeah, we don't have to buy like 6 other GPUs at this point or use cloud. Like we can like
rent them.
Rent them. And then long as our internet connection is good, obviously, use that power. And now your machine at the office becomes that machine that you're renting for that set amount of time.
I will say that
sounds interesting.
The 2 weeks before we went to the show, like we got we had a meeting at Google down here at Playa. We had I got the whole team together, and the guys from Teradici were there. So like 2 of us brought our laptops. So I had my old 2017 MacBook Pro from 2011, right? And we loaded up the client. They showed us how to sign in. We signed in. Got a machine. They already had pre-configured some machines for us. And I was like, okay. And then Maya was up, and I'm running. It was like we're up and running like in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Huh.
So it was up. We're up and running. And then, but I'll tell you. So when I came home, I was using it, and I had on my laptop. I had on my desktop, and I was like, it's still a little bit of lag because I'm on wireless back here. I have an extender because my wired is in the house. I can't get it wired in the back here, so I had to do like extended, Wi-Fi and stuff. So what I was ended up doing a couple times, I was just working locally. So I would work like I was like still rigging up the characters. I'm just doing this locally because I have my plugins and everything. All my stuff's set up here, and then I would just I would use my Google Drive to copy stuff over to the main drive on the client. So that was a little bit of you had to kind of go through a little jump to get in there. But once it's all there, then everyone just accesses that data. So we, my TD and another guy, we all made sure everyone was just like, okay, we're just going to use it. Just make sure you use it. So a couple of us kind of cheated a little bit and used the local just because it was a little easier for us to do stuff locally because, the speed was a little faster. But once we were at the show, we all had our laptops and we were all, we were in one of the TD's rooms in his hotel room, and we came back with let's try to get some stuff done. And then even at the end of the show, we didn't have like a full cut done yet. So we're all coming back. This is the thing. It's like I was going to Mexico the next morning for our vacation, right? So we're at the airport, getting ready to come home late, and Ryan's got his laptop, and we're on the Wi-Fi at the airport. He's on the client.
Wow.
He's submitting a job, and he's checking a render at the airport.
Damn.
So yes, you can use it, anywhere.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, the bigger studios too, like they talked about. I think this company was working with Sony, and there's like you have a company where like you have a Vancouver division or maybe one in London, wherever, and you need to it's all about security too. So they work with the security to make sure your data is secure. But yeah, if you have teams that are in different major cities, why not set up a couple of these remote boxes and work remotely that way?
Yeah. I love the idea of the everything being on one drive. I mean, we would run into problems at work, like when we're start pumping out 200 frame image sequences or whatever. Just we use an SVN program called SVN, versioning program called SVN, where that's like our backup on how we save stuff. But then we would hit a bottleneck of like saving all those things up to the network, and then for the other guy to pull them down so he can do whatever he needs to do with that next scene. So I was like, that sounds like cool if they're all working on one virtual drive, so that we don't have to do that, basically copying or whatever you want to call it, like them having to download the next files. It should be easier for them to grab files and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's all about version control, making sure that Google also announced at the LA event some new hardware, which is like this, like you can like do like this like mass ingest of all your data.
Oh, really?
Devices. So they provide that too. It's all secured stuff. So yeah, they're taking a big. I think they were saying that they realized that they're like number 3 or 4. It's like Amazon is like number 1 with their AWS service, and then I think I can't remember who was 2 or 3, but I had dinner with the guys at Teradici and Bebop and the Google guys, and we had a dinner one night, and they're like, Google realizes that they're like not number 1 yet, but all the stuff they're doing, they're showing, they're like they're really
heels,
to like get up to go up there. So like, I think this was it was the third year they had this conference, and it was not on my radar, but it was this year it was on my radar, and I was like, this is a kind of a it could be something that people like us in this kind of industry would probably be affected by, and maybe hey, I want you to work on a job, and all you need is this remote box,
Right.
this $300 box and a fast internet connection, you're good to go. So,
and to bring it back full circle, imagine the point where your iPad is able to access these files, and you can make changes and everything like that. That's going to be a really cool day.
Yeah, Dakota and I are talking about this. It's like we're just, these machines are so freaking powerful. If you saw like the Geekbench scores on these things, that was one of the big things that Apple was pushing at that keynote. How many times were they comparing it to like, this is your next computer? This is like your next, we blow away 92% of other laptops, and it's like the GPU is like level 1 of Xbox level. It's like, and this is like on a fanless tablet.
Right.
It's just crazy to think about the power we have right now.
Can you connect to that cloud client through the iPad?
I don't think so, but you could do it through a Chromebook.
A Chromebook?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I used to work for my like walk around meeting like laptop.
I wanted to try. I didn't get a chance to try, but I was like at the show. I was like, I want to try one of those Chromebooks. And they have them all over the place. I'm like, I want to try. Can we run this on the Chromebook? And they, yeah, we could try it out. But I never got a chance to try it out. But you could, it's just all you need is a powerful machine to drive the virtual machine. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If the iPad Pro is so powerful, that like it sounds like, and you're accessing it through a browser, right?
My 2011 MacBook Pro ran it fine.
There you go. Oh,
and of course, like you're using the discrete graphics to run the thing, but you're accessing an even more powerful machine and more powerful graphics card. So you just need to be able to drive it on whatever system you're running. So that's kind of
nice.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's like everything's going back up in the cloud now.
Yeah, and they're talking about doing that same thing, guys, for gaming. We might, just like there was a resurgence of like downloadable content and how a game can extend its life. Now they're talking about games as services. That's what they call. So that like, and Microsoft was already coming up with a subscription-based services where you pay a flat fee and you get all these games that are on the cloud and new games that come out.
Right.
And so that like you don't have to buy new games. that game's going to come out. So you just wait for it, download it. And like you get all the old catalog too. And they're pushing for that. So Microsoft has really been pushing that. I forget what it's called. It's called Xbox something. I have to look it up. But like everybody's pushing to that cloud type of service of like, hey, just download those things. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually, the box didn't have a place for you to put a CD or a Blu-ray. It's just the box. You just need the internet connection.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Have you guys been playing with VR?
Yeah, I play VR almost every day at work, but yeah,
Nice.
we do it for work for all the experiential stuff we do.
So are you using Unreal or Unity?
We are a Unity house.
Nice.
I use Unreal for all for all my cinematic stuff.
Okay.
So right now the Unreal project we got right now, it's this really cool full animation project. So we've only used Unreal like a DCC program, and we just have a full animation in there with that.
Nice. Okay.
You know, so
And how do you like Unity?
Unity's good. Like programmers like Unity, which is what I found. If I had to pick, I would like to be in Unreal or more because it's just the tools. But Unity's done a great job in the last 3 or 4 years of finally coming up and doing the same thing. And their 2019 stuff looks really good. And I even mentioned to you guys before the show the last project I just did, which was an AR project for Nissan. We helped them do a commercial shoot too, where half of my scene was shot in Unity and the other half was shot with Redshift and Cinema 4D, and we made the two scenes look identical. Nice. So the camera, Unity Cinemachine, which is their procedural camera system, I did all the shots myself for that, where they have really nice camera tools where like basically you're building a bunch of virtual cameras that then Unity's quickly interpolating between. So I can do a really nice camera arc that looks really nice while only using one camera, even though I have a bunch of like ghosted cameras around my scene, and those cameras are just interpolating in. So I never did any keyframes. I'm not keyframing this camera at all. It's all procedural, where like I have a camera here, put a camera here, I move the camera here, it remembers where I've moved it, and then when I play it in Unity's nice timeline, you know, I put these camera clips together. When I play it, it does the nice arc.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I saw some of that at the Unity user group meeting I went to over the summer. And they also had this new thing where they were showing this cool sci-fi scene with all the new effect stuff.
Yeah.
So they showed the scene where it's like, it looks like a Blade Runner scene with like fog and neon and stuff. And they start turning off lights and stripping it down. And it's like the ship.
It's like BS. Yeah. It's really nice.
Blew my mind. I was like, come on, it's awesome.
Yeah. So Unity's been doing really good. But the biggest thing with Unity is like, Unity uses what's for programming language. Unity uses C#, whereas Unreal uses C++. And Unreal, even though they tout it and they show it with different indie and stuff like that, it's really set up really good for really larger studios. And Unity really works with the smaller guy, and they've been like that for a long time. So now that they have so much tools, the things that we can do at Next Now in terms of like what those programmers are tying Unity into and what they're running it off of, and what different JSON scripts and C# stuff that they're doing, like it's very versatile into what we need to fabricate it into. So Unity is really nice. So Unity is really nice for that, and they've been doing some good stuff. But yeah, I'll have to show off that commercial. But like, totally. It's been pretty good.
I was going to ask you. So one of my favorite VR apps that I will continue to this day always show people new to VR is because I have the Rift. So I do that for the first contact with a robot.
Yeah, I heard that's really good.
I love that thing, and that's what I want to do. Like, I'm not interested in doing a game. I don't want to do a shooting game. I want to do experiences. So every time I see that, I get excited because that is just like a room with a character and all this cool stuff that, like, you know, it's not linear scripted. You can like, I could grab this thing and do something out of order. It doesn't matter what order you do. Right. I'm just like interacting with this world. So that's really what I want to kind of do with some of my content. And I don't know if you know the Nothing But Mech 4 just came out, and my piece in there is, I don't know if you saw it, was it's a big, like, so I took the idea of Sketchbot and I expanded it. So it's like he's the Sketchbot, like what is Sketchbot? He's like this character with a big like cyclopic eye. So I came up with these ideas where what if the eye is a character itself and they're just wearing these suits. So it's on my Instagram feed. I have some stuff I'll show you guys later. So I came up with all these drawings, and I modeled a little character. And so what I do is my illustration for Nothing But Mech is a 2-page spread where it's like this. They're in this warehouse. There's this big giant mech getting his arm kind of attached to him, and then there's all these little minion workers, you know, with clipboards, stuff walking around. So I had that built in Maya, and so I thought, you know what, that's going to be my first test bed to get stuff into VR. So It's been slow because I started a couple months ago and I had to stop. But so what I want to do is I want to build the replica of that warehouse, but I already have the characters done. So I started animating the characters. Like I didn't even think I was going to animate, so I'm just trying to bring an illustration to life. So like the idea is like the arms kind of lowering in, and the guys in the suit he's like blinking and like going like this, and then like some of the guys are walking in and checking. So I'm trying to do some animation, but I'm thinking like, so if it gets in the VR, like do I have something like maybe there's a door that opens and one guy walks in and maybe looks around and does something and then he walks off. That way I can have like something where it's like you can be in this world and you can be like a spectator observing this little like scene come to life from different angles.
Yeah.
So the first thing for me was the coolest thing was when I finally I had took one of my characters, I had to like get it out as an FBX file with some animation, and I threw it in to Unreal and I put my goggles on, and I was like, the first time I was like below the ground. I was like, I had to stand up and like look over because I was in I had to learn how to get the camera right. So once you get that camera thing in there, and then when you're in there and you see your character in there, I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. It's like, you're in there with something you created in the virtual world. I mean, like that to me, I was like, okay, I want to do more of that kind of stuff. So that's really what I want to get into, is doing that kind of experience.
Yeah, and you went as far as taking a class, right? For that.
Well, I took the sculpting class with Geo Napkill. So that was it was through Mole 3D, and actually it was great because they had an extra slot and they were like, hey, you want to come down for the day? I'm like, yes. I went down and did it.
Carlos, that's some crazy picture. I'm sure Steve has some on his Instagram or something, but like that's a crazy picture of a class where everybody has the headsets on, and and it's like 12 or 13 or 20 people in there with all headsets on, sculpting in VR. It's almost like one of those silent dance parties.
Right here, it's Mole 3D, and hey, where those guys over there? They're great. Why does it say it's what? The website not showing. Here it is. Mole 3D Academy. So copy, and if you go here, I think they might have a link to the VR. They just did another one a couple weeks ago. And then you've got people like Glenn Southern, who's over in England. He's doing a lot of teaching medium as well. He goes. I think he was at Trojan Horse recently, and he did a whole a master class for that. So it's like you're seeing more and more VR stuff, and I feel bad because I have not been able to dive into VR for about 2 months now. I've just been so busy. It's like I feel like to me, part of it still is like I'm not working in VR right now. It's like it's still kind of playing in it, but I don't play games. I'm like noodling and goofing around. So I'm not really. I'm not using it to model or concept or whatever. So it's like if I go in there, it's like just to kind of play around. Or like a couple weeks ago, DaCosta and I were like, it's like you got time to jump in. It's like they just had a new update to the home, so we tried to jump in there. But I know that there's a new thing where you can now take your own data and upload it into your own home.
I heard that.
And somebody of mine was like, he had to send me some links. He goes, check out this because you have to like convert the file to like a GTLF or it's like a new format you have to convert it to, and like you can convert like your PBR shader textures now. So I have like the links. I just have to I have a couple models. I'm like, I just have to find the time to do it and upload it and spend some time in there to dink around with it. Yeah. Southern, who's over in England, he's doing a lot of teaching medium as well. He goes. I think he was at Trojan Horse recently, and he did a whole a master class for that. So it's like you're seeing more and more VR stuff, and I feel bad because I have not been able to dive into VR for about 2 months now. I've just been so busy. It's like I feel like to me, part of it still is like I'm not working in VR right now. It's like it's still kind of playing in it, but I don't play games. I'm like noodling and goofing around. So I'm not really. I'm not using it to model or concept or whatever. So it's like if I go in there, it's like just to kind of play around. Or like a couple weeks ago, DaCosta and I were like, it's like you got time to jump in. It's like they just had a new update to the home, so we tried to jump in there. But I know that there's a new thing where you can now take your own data and upload it into your own home.
I heard that.
And somebody of mine was like, he had to send me some links. He goes, check out this because you have to like convert the file to like a GTLF or it's like a new format you have to convert it to, and like you can convert like your PBR shader textures now. So I have like the links. I just have to I have a couple models. I'm like, I just have to find the time to do it and upload it and spend some time in there to dink around with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yet another thing to spend time on. I want to go back and learn Houdini. Like I spent like a couple hours with Houdini. I'm like, I just want to get into Houdini now because I want to start doing all like cool Vellum stuff.
Join the Mount Everest team of trying to figure out Houdini. I've been trying it for a while now, but it's cool. They're doing some really cool stuff, and the 17 looks really nice too. So
Yeah.
it's great. All right.
Cool. So let's go ahead and bring this bad boy in for a landing.
Cool.
Ooh.
Do it.
So let's do now that I have like so many windows open. I keep clicking all the links that Steve sent.
Right.
And I have like everything is just like on the wall, Steve links. Okay, let's get into artist inspiration. All right. So this week I'm going to show you guys, since we're talking 3D, I wanted to bring up Lycian Manella. So yeah, some really cool 3D action being tossed about.
Yeah.
Very cool. Look at this. The turtles would have their hands full with this guy. I don't even care.
Yeah. It's his older brother calling reinforcements.
Oh, speaking of turtles, boom. There you go, mountain turtle. So yeah, we'll have the link in the show notes, but it's Lycian Manella. Adam is her.
Lycian Manila.
So yeah,
Awesome.
check them out.
Cool.
Okay.
Would you
Cool.
like to go?
Yeah, I can go. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Share it, Dan.
I am. Click the wrong button. Application window. There we go. So my guy this week is a character artist, short and sweet, but I like this guy.
Yes.
I want him to have more, but this is good. You know, sometimes less is more.
Yeah, these are cool.
So Ricardo Manso,
Manso.
and this is the one that got me, that pulled me in. I just like this.
Oh yeah, super well done.
Above doing wanting to learn the Houdini stuff, and getting more back into like wanting to do more character sculpts and stuff like that, and sculpting again. So I've been looking at a lot of character stuff lately, a lot of character with a lot of appeal. You know, so like when I find those things, it's like I love this, and this one has a good mixture of appeal as well as like the realism, because like all the hair and the skin. And
Yo,
stuff,
what's up with that skin shader? Because it looks a little fuzzy. Like,
right? I don't know.
What's up with that?
Yeah, like just, and it seems like it's a trend with his other stuff. So let's look at some of the other stuff. But look at look at this. It's super like different miniatures, which I hope he has close-ups. Yeah, he does. Sweet. Of these guys. Like, it's just interesting. I love this one. You don't got any pockets. Those hands in his pants. But yeah, these are great. All the rock gods, you know. I love the gray renders and stuff. All you see all the stuff. Look at this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. He did Michael a little wrong, and Michael looks a little scary. I want to see Michael without his hat on. Just because I don't know if he had problems with him, but like it's hilarious. But yeah, there's some stuff here. Then he has some of these weird like characters.
Nice.
Adorable.
Look at the braces.
Teeth are not even close to getting straight.
Yeah. His texture and style is interesting. In some places like soft and cool. Other places it's like really rough and almost just like hard plastic looking. Yeah. So that's those, and then look at this one. This is a cool one too. I think I can pull closer.
Yeah, that's really cool design.
There we go.
Nice.
You know, down to the like
Yeah.
clear glasses and stuff like that. You know. Even the rolling of the foot. So it's like I like the posing's very nice. What else we got?
By the way, I love when people post their Marmoset viewers on their R stations.
Right, for sure.
You learn so much about. You go to that wireframe and you see how the PBR maps are working out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love the viewer. I love that they like worked with look at this guys. That they worked with Marmoset and got that integrated. Yeah. But I'm a stickler for the clay stuff.
That's really cool.
Nice hair. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
The hair's cool, and the texture on the skin is really neat.
Yeah. You can see the topology. It's awesome. So yeah, this guy's great. Not a lot of stuff, but great stuff. You know, he's like, look at this.
Nice.
Look at this one, dude. So
That's
awesome.
clever.
Taking a picture with his cell phone. I mean, I'm even loving the sweater, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's like fat legs.
Yeah, look at the detail on that sweater. It's great with the little
The ribbing here, I want to zoom in more.
That's nice.
It's like awesome. But you see, it's flatter than I thought it looked when we went closer. But that's even cooler. It's like a nice little.
Yeah, but I call BS on that because usually when you wear a sweater like that, there's always that one strand.
That's where the hole starts.
Is that one strand? I don't care how much you try to take care of that sweater, there's always that one that'll make. If you play with it, that whole thing is going bye-bye.
This is another one. The guy with the skin. Look at the skin on this Jack. These glasses are like awesome.
Damn.
Little bitty feet. This guy's awesome. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So like this guy is awesome. That one. He's got a lot here, but this dude's name is Punk.
Yeah.
But nice.
I
That's
bet
a little more Tim Burton-ish.
High voice.
Yeah. Even the skin on there is like really rough. That's crazy. Yeah. And so that's nice when they show the whole scene, even with the clouds, how he did the clouds. The Geo too.
You
know?
Interesting.
That's like really good. So are we almost done? He doesn't have a lot. Yeah. It's good stuff. I think that might be it. Go back. I think we get through all of them. Yeah, we did. Perfect. So Ricardo Manso, sculptor, illustrator, and 3D artist. You know,
well played, Ricardo.
Check him out. Get it in your life.
All right, let's see what Jack has.
All right, I unfortunately didn't pick up the memo and do a 3D guy, but he's got some 3D stuff. But this avocado boy is what caught me. I don't know.
I want that on a T-shirt.
It's just brilliant, simple stuff. But
is it animated too?
Yeah, he does some animation. Usually really simple animation.
I like his backpack. Does it start to get brown in the sun?
Oh my god, so cute.
I like his animation. I like this style.
He's going somewhere.
What's his last name again? Jeremy what?
Cisse, C-I-S-S-E.
Got it.
And he found his other half.
That's great. That's great.
You may have seen he did this film called Sans Gravité that won all these awards and was all over the internet. It was one of his thesis films.
I didn't watch it. Did you watch it? That film? Is it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Go back
check it out. It's not wanting to play right now, but
didn't have fun like that today.
Yeah, this is Jeremy Cisse, C-I-S-S-E. A little bit of a very limited portfolio, but it's all super solid. Some of it's animated, some of it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all very well designed.
But he's done everything, so this is all his personal stuff from college?
Yeah, so far it looks like he's like kind of new in the world. He hasn't really, done anything in a major studio or anything, but all of his schoolwork and his personal work was really nice. I think it's
excellent. Yeah.
If he's not working, he will be immediately.
Good quality to it. Yeah. Yeah, this one caught my eye. The coloring for that one, for this one. Oh, yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. I don't. If this is all him, this is great. I want to know if these are team projects. This is all him. This is good.
Says he was working at Blue Zoo during an internship this summer.
Yeah, he did. It looks like he did all this.
Nice.
Some ZBrush, After Effects.
Very.
Yeah, it's got a really cool look to it. He definitely major art direction style in his.
Yeah,
in
he's
his wheelhouse.
got some vision on him. He knows
Yeah.
what he wants.
So yeah, super short and sweet, but check it out. It's Jeremy Cizé. And watch that avocado boy again. I do. I want that on a t-shirt.
I want that on a t-shirt.
All right, I'll share my screen again because I have Steve's up.
Okay.
This is one of my Instagram follows. This guy, Clog2, is just amazing.
Yo, I think I've seen this dude.
This guy's like a graffiti guy, visual artist. It's just amazing stuff. I kind of I wanted to get that latest print, but I think I might have missed my window of opportunity to get it.
Too. I
Beautiful.
saw the mech thing and I didn't know who this was, and I saw that chick one. This is great. So I like this segment.
Yeah, and he's killing it in Procreate too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what he's using?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Clog_2.
TWO. Okay.
Yeah.
CLOG_TWO.
He's on Behance too.
Yeah, his stuff is just beautiful.
Graffiti has come a long way, Carlos. Right?
Yeah.
Calls himself a graffiti practitioner. Yo, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That's what his Behance thing. Clog2 is a graffiti practitioner and visual engineer who explores numerous mediums and transcends from spray paints to digital media. That's a great, there's so many big words in that thing that make it sound awesome. Yo, my art is transcending.
If you scroll down, he does like an Astro Boy. He does like the turtles. I mean, he just has so much stuff.
He does
it's a crazy amount of stuff.
Also, Carlos, when you get done with that, go to behance.net/clog2, and he has a bunch of stuff on there too, because he got some crazy, the monkey with the tambourine and Mario, he has some crazy mech'd out versions of those too. This behance.net //clog2. I can copy it for you too. Put it in the chat. There you go.
Put it in the chat.
Oh, there's no underscore. That's why.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
There you go. Yo, yeah.
Oh man.
Right?
That's awesome.
Those Evas though are just the color combinations are just.
I don't think
gorgeous.
Are you sharing it, Carlos?
Oh, look at that Ava 102. It's like a graffiti paint on a wall. It's just so freaking amazing.
Yeah, when you see it on a wall, I want to see a time lapse of that one.
That's just drop dead gorgeous.
Oh, he's just painting that. He starts blocking out the. The paint skills. He's like, just so you know, and he's still covering up his face. Straight hip hop.
Yeah, this is nice.
Right?
Very nice.
Reminds me of that scene from Akira. Starts to get bigger and bigger. He has Akira on there too. He probably influence. This dude's awesome.
Yeah.
Great pick, Steve.
The thing is, it's like, look at how prolific this guy is. I mean, it's just like, come on, man. Like look at this kind of stuff. I'm just like, what am I doing?
Yeah, he's taking that robot thing
Every single
crazy.
piece of stuff, it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
Yo, check out the Bomberman. Yo, go scroll down, Carlos, to the Bomberman. He calls it Mecha Soul Bomberman.
Oh wait, hold on. Where's that? Mecha Soul Bomberman. Hold on. There you go.
It's on the main page at the bottom.
Okay, I see Mecha Soul V. Hold on. Keep on going down.
Keep
Mecha
going.
Soul.
There it is, right there, next to Darth Vader. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is just it's the coolest Bomberman I've seen. Yeah. I mean, all the Star Wars stuff is cool, but like that Bomberman is like, or he goes from the Blade Runner, and he does the Mecha Soul Geisha. That's on there too. Oh, that one he shows the 2D sketch here. I gave you the link. There it is, right there. Click on the geisha. You know we like process here. Look at the hand drawn sketch first, just to keep you honest. Just to let you know. Yeah, I did this with not with squiggly lines. Yeah, you're right there. You think, Jack? Just so you know. I didn't have to go look at anything. I just drew this from me going to the movie theater, going home, and then I'm gonna make my own version.
That's another one of the things I've been trying to consciously think about. Like I look at all these people on especially on my Instagram. I kind of if I see some stuff, I'll do a screenshot with their names. I kind of put in my visual reference library. But it's like I got the sketching down. It's just like the finished look. I don't have a finished illustration painterly look. And it's like,
dude, I want to know how he paints this. Yeah, the painting on this is really good.
It's like, man, I just want to take these classes from all these people that learn all their different ways of how they do their final, renderings.
Right.
Just gorgeous.
Because it's even from the geisha one, just from the aspect of having the inner workings gold, just being able to nail that nail that look that that's supposed to be gold. I love it.
Yeah.
Yo, this is instant background for me. I think I got my backgrounds for a while,
right?
Because I use those as my visual. You have to be really good to make it to my background on my computer, because then I stare at it all the time.
Just in case you get bored of the Procreate stuff and the paper and pencil stuff, here's a wall one.
Ooh, is that chalk?
Spray paint.
Actually, it's spray. Yeah, that's nice.
Spray paint on the wall.
It's so loose too. I love it.
Look at that.
Oh, that's the process. It's build up.
Look how it pops off the wall.
Ooh, nice.
And then
Look at that.
Well, he just. Yo, I think you win, Steve. You just killed it today. Oh, I haven't felt like this in a while.
Really cool stuff.
Pissed I didn't show a better one. This dude's awesome. It's always the graffiti artists that transcend the physical into digital, whatever. And whoever wrote that Behance bio, yo, give that dude an Emmy.
Look at that print. Oh, beautiful print.
I'm gonna start having to buy.
Why is it
looking for artwork to put up on the walls? I don't have no artwork in because I haven't found somebody good where I want on the wall.
Why does this dude have an animation contract with Netflix?
Oh, wait a minute, yo, is he doing prints?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that Ava was the latest one. I think I missed out on it.
That's
it was $80. I was ready to pop for it.
Dude, I was wondering. That's what I was gonna say next. This dude has to have something. Yo.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Look at that red pop. That text just pops.
Yeah.
I want to know who's printing these characters for him.
This is badass.
This is
all right. That's
we just had a conversation this week about Behance, and if it was this is changing my view on Behance. I thought it was kind of dead. This is
no, they're still there.
Still there, yeah. Oh, so this is Ink and Clog. So his website's inkandclog.com. Big Cartel.
Yeah, I just sent you a link. Hey, that print sold out. I was literally gonna. It just sold out like a couple days ago. I was gonna get this one. I'm kicking myself.
Oh, the Mecha. Yeah. I might get the. I don't buy stuff, but I might get this Mecha Soul Geisha. I'm like $60. I'll do that. Start putting stuff on my wall. This is good.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff.
I want a T-shirt too. I want clothes though. You
Yeah,
know, like a black T-shirt with that on it. It's like
absolutely.
Hey, Steve. So if people want to keep up with you online, where can they find you?
All my social are at Steve Talkowski. So I'm pretty much active on Instagram and Twitter the most. And then Sketchbot.tv is my main site, but I haven't became updated. My main stuff updated is on ArtStation. So that's my name. But I haven't put anything out there recently. I'm getting ready to put some new stuff up as things are kind of coming public. I can start putting some new stuff. But the last couple of months have been like kind of like just like doodling and showing stuff, but like all the real serious stuff, I haven't been able to show anything yet. So hopefully in the next month or two, I can start. Here's what I've been working on for the last 6 months, kind of thing. So
cool. We'll have you come back on and we'll talk about it. Awesome. Hey, how about you, Charlie?
Hey, you can find me on my website, which is cargocollective.com/Charlie B. Williams. You can find me on Instagram.com/CharlieBW3. Pinterest is Pinterest.com/CharlieBW3. I just upgraded that Pinterest account, so I'm gonna be pushing some more stuff to that, and like more of my like all the different inspirations and stuff. If you like this segment, we have a bunch of stuff on there, so it's kind of cool. And yeah, get all that stuff in your life. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. How about you, Jack?
I am at sketchbookjack.com and sketchbookjack on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for joining us for this lovely evening. If you're trying to find me, coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Hey, if you're watching Sketch Zone, you can go to sketch.zone and you'll find all of our links out there. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and all that good stuff. We're also on Instagram. So the fun prompt this week is a zookeeper trembling in a maze. And if you decide to join us in the fun prompt, go ahead and tag us. Go through the actual process of tagging us so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, and if you, again, a quick little shout out to everyone that was on the chat room, like whoever Long Arm is. Hi, Long Arm. We're gonna need to know your real name soon enough so we can stop calling you Long Arm. But yeah, Landon and Corey and everyone else that was on the chat room, thank you for joining us and hanging out. And we're here every Thursday, so if you can join us live, do so. Otherwise, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button down there. If you're watching on Twitch, subscribe button up there. And if you can't watch us live, you can catch us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and of course, iTunes. That's it for us, y'all. Have a wonderful week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me again.